I met a gypsy.
All right. Joining me on the Gypsy Tales podcast is Charlie Dixon. And, mate, I feel like we're best mates, but this is only our first time meeting.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, mate. Sort of only just started listening, but super pumped to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out the 6 degrees of separation. So
Yeah.
Glenn was like, you got to fucking get something going with Charlie. And I was like, sweet, start following you on Instagram. And then we just figure out we know, like, all of the same people. You're only a couple years younger than me. Grew up in Cairns.
Yep.
So I feel like this is probably just always going to happen.
Yeah, wild. Speaking to Glenn, just from riding mountain bikes, Dad had a lot to do with the Cairns Mountain Bike Club growing up, and that's how I met Glenn, and then just sort of after moving away from Cairns, and then sort of getting back into mountain biking, and then sort of chatting to Glenn again, and then seeing him on on this podcast, and then listening to that was awesome. And then just sort of it all just came back, and then now, like, Cairns is a small place, and knowing everyone through everyone, and even like down in Adelaide where I live, everyone sort of knows this who I've just started riding bikes with, so it's awesome.
Oh, it's sick. That was such a good podcast with Glenn too. I was so pumped that we got that one done. Like, I feel like that's one that I'm going to look back on in like a lot of years' time and be like, fuck, that was good. You know, like to be able to capture like a moment in time, everything he's got going on in his life, everything he's achieved, all the stuff that we had going on. Maddie was in there, like, and makes you, that sort of shit too just makes me appreciate Cairns. Yeah,
absolutely. I love that. I remember I was cleaning my shed and just had the earpods in and just listen to that, and I could relate to sort of everything that was going on, like with what you guys are talking about, and it was awesome. Like the whole time, like it's like I didn't really get too much done, but like because I was just laughing and like just reminiscing on all those old days of riding bikes and just living the life of Cairns, and whenever it rained, like you go. There was always something to do, like whether it was like you go grab Dad had a bus company, and you go grab Dad's tyre tubes and go tubing down Crystal Cascades and put your life jackets and helmets on, and you'd be laughing, and there was just always something to do, and that's just why I related so much to that sort of podcast.
When you left, so how old were you when you left Cairns?
I was just turned 17 and moved to Brisbane, and played a year in Brisbane playing footy, and then got picked up by the Gold Coast Suns at the end of that year, so 2008. Yeah. And then from there, I played 7 years with the Suns, and then got traded to Port Adelaide in 2015.
Yeah, right. So do you reckon that you enjoyed Cairns when you lived there, or did you take it for granted as a kid, and it wasn't until you moved away that you appreciated it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You do. Like,
you kind of can't help it, right?
No, you can't. Well, and that's sort of like everyone gets complacent with what they've got and always sort of want more. And I think, I look at it now and say, I had the best childhood. Like, parents sort of gave me everything and more that I ever wanted, like, and we were able to do, like, ride bikes and play sport and do whatever we sort of really wanted. We had free reign. And I look at the way sort of kids grow up now, and it's like, it's all phone, it's all this and all that. It's just like, rarely were we sort of inside, like during the day watching TV or watching like a movie or something like that, unless you had a bunch of mates over who were eating pizza and watching a movie on a Friday night or something. But other than that, we were outside all the time, just doing, and like we used to have a big train on a Saturday morning of just bikes riding out to Smithfield from Redlynch, and that was just what we used to do. So
when did you get into mountain biking? Was that something you always did along with footy?
Pretty much, because Dad started like when we were quite little. He just started riding, and then we were jumping on his bikes, and he didn't want us to ride his bike, so we were just like flogging around on his, and then he sort of got us all in our own mountain bikes, and then we were sort of into it from quite a young age, probably 8 to 10, something like that. Me and my brother, and we just loved it, and then sort of met all our childhood friends that we're still really close friends with now, and just started riding, and the rest is history. And then we'd sort of go play footy or basketball, and then we'd on the Sunday we'd go and ride mountain bikes with Dad, and we'd go to all the hard stuff with Dad, like the cross country stuff, and on the proviso that we'd go get to do runs of Coranda on the way back.
Dude, I love that track.
It's still so good.
It's still we pulled up to it when we just rode up to Cape York. And then I pulled up with Rones actually and was like, oh, this is the start of the downhill track.
Yeah.
Like this was probably some of my best memories in my life is being in the car, driving up to the top of that, playing like Linkin Park, and, you know what I mean? Like just with the boys, just
absolutely.
Oh, that fucking bit of rain, and that track was so sick.
Yeah, it was always like, I haven't done it sort of recently, but like it was always a track that we'd come home, like I'd come home to, and we'd go and do it.
Yeah,
and like and everything would change every time. Everything was similar but not the same. So you'd just be flying into it. And like me and my brother used to do it. And it was just two of us. He bought an old Kona for like $150 off Nick Simpson. Off him. Like it was just flogged out. But like we'd never had a full downhill bike like that. Heavy as hell. But and like this wasn't even that long ago. And we'd just go up, drop one off, we'd do a run, we'd time each other, and then the other we're mad competitors, so we just race each other back and forth, and we do about 4 runs until someone fell off, and then be like, righto, that's enough.
Yeah, let's pack it up, boys. Man, I got just so many memories on that track. Like, fuck, I love that track. There was a point in time where I could have rode down there with my eyes closed. Yeah. Like, we just did it so many times. Like, we had one day where the track comes out of the road, and then you've got like the little road section. I used to like get down there and just manual the whole way down. And I had one of my mates one day fucking did it, and he was in front of me and just looped out on the fucking concrete, dude, and just just cartwheeled, ACL gone, the whole fucking.
Wow.
None of us gave a fuck. Like we just picked him up, got him, just kept going, more runs. Can you imagine if someone did an ACL now? You'd just be like in fucking panic stations. Like,
I know.
He's got to work, and what are you going to do with the kid?
That's it. You don't even like, while you're doing it, you're like having the best time ever. And you're like, oh, I probably shouldn't be doing this. Actually, you need my body for my work. And it's just it's like, wow. But at the time, you're having the best time ever.
Yeah. No, I feel like I just didn't know what I had until I moved away.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
100%.
But I was thinking about it like, was that a me problem, or is that just inevitable? Because you don't know what you don't know. And it's not until you leave and then you realise the limitations of other places, or that, you know, they just don't have certain things. But, I mean, I've been living on the Gold Coast now for probably like 5 or 6 years. Yeah. And I mean, fuck, there's so much here still. Yeah. Like, there's actually a lot of... You don't have like the jungle and stuff, but there's so many ranges through here and so many waterfalls and crazy shit that I guess I haven't really explored here. So maybe it's just everywhere.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, it's sort of like I sort of lived here for 7 years, and I didn't really go out and see a waterfall or anything like that. I was just sort of hanging by the beach and playing footy.
Drowning in pussy. Don't fucking lie.
I won't, no comment on that. It's
shit house.
It's shit house here. Yeah, absolutely. It's a little bit step up from Adelaide, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. Oh, there's Instagram's good though. I feel like the explore page will let you know where the hot girls
gets
are
bad sometimes
in every city.
Absolutely. You just get stuck in this mindful scrolling of and then your algorithm becomes just absolute smut.
Clones.
It's not great, is it?
Fuck, how'd we get there?
Yeah, that's exactly. It always comes back.
But definitely nowadays I have like a crazy appreciation for Cairns. Like it feels like such a sacred place. And I think too, probably one of the reasons why we both wanted to move away is like nothing happens here, small town, you know. But I think that's probably the beauty of it. You know, the further along you get, the older you get, you're like, oh, that's actually the move.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I was always like, when I lived here and early days in Adelaide, I was always like, I'll never go back and live at home or anything. And I love Adelaide. Like I can see myself living there, but I could see myself moving back to Cairns or maybe the Tablelands or something like that. Just having just like cruisy and just like do my own thing and be sort of more than happy with a bit of land and all that sort of stuff. Like I've got 4 acres in Adelaide and I'm just outside of like I'm in Adelaide Hills and it's the best thing I've ever done. It's like I've got my own space. I'm just like don't have to see anyone. Don't have to talk. If I want to, I can just stay up there all weekend or for a few days and not talk and just not say a single word to anyone, and I love it. And it's as you get older, you want the simple things, you know. And I've got 2 dogs, and it's just me out there, and mate, I fucking love it.
Dude, how good is it too, eh?
Absolutely. It's like I find it just so peaceful, and like I've got a lot of lawn, like grass, so I just like jump on like podcasts, music, whatever, and I'll mow the lawn. It takes me like 4 or 5 hours because it's like this high. But it's just the best. I like it. I found it's just like that's all I sort of want and all I need really, just to get me through. And yeah, bit of land and mow the lawn and dogs.
Dude, I'm kind of there with you these days, eh? Like that's what I say to the boys all the time now. I'm like, man, we're doing this for a farm.
Yeah.
Like we're doing this to buy a real big farm with some moto tracks on it. We'll build a big shed. We'll put a studio in there. I can do my video calls to America and to wherever. We just don't have to. There'll be some bunk beds there for the boys. Just come and stay the week, stay the month. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Ride in the morning, ride in the Arvo.
Exactly.
Just simple shit.
You don't have to leave.
Yeah.
You don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Or only to get food, of course. But yeah, that's just like I'm only 5 minutes from Stirling, and it's like got everything I need there, and like that's all I need.
How long have you had it for?
Only a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, only a year, and I've got plans of building a house and a big shed. And
what's it got on it now? Like an older house?
An old farmhouse, barely livable.
Yeah,
it's on rainwater, but like I've got these plans for this like kind of big ridiculous house, and it's like, oh, I don't really need that because I'm pretty happy with like just this place that sort of you roll a basketball in and it'd go to every room, you know, like there's not a straight doorway in it. And I think one of the taps has given me like gastro because it's like all copper pipe, like old cast piping, and so it's I've had all the plumbing fixed, a bit of the plumbing fixed, and all this other stuff just to make it livable. It's got a fireplace. I put a heater in, but it's like all I really
into like growing veggies and shit like that.
Well, there's plenty of room for it, but because I've got build this house is just sort of and I'll be knocking that one down, so I haven't sort of made any sort of real places until stuff like that until I can actually work out like where the house is and then so I'm not just like doing all this stuff to just get knocked over in the middle of next year.
How long ago, or like let's say you go back 7-8 years, like any part of you, if you come tap yourself on the shoulder, I'm like, mate, all you're gonna give a fuck about is mowing your lawn with your dogs, and you're gonna chase not talking to anyone for like a week straight. Like, what does the 7 year ago person say? He'd
be like, you're fucking crazy,
You've
mate.
lost it,
You've
mate.
lost the plot, mate. You're absolutely off your gagunga. But no, like it's like and I said that like when I came to Adelaide, and like I moved there 2015, didn't know anyone, knew the coach. That's the reason I moved there, to play for Port Adelaide. And I knew the coach, and then that was it. And then I sort of rented this house, and I was like I got to look for a house, got to try and find something, looking down the beach, whatever. And I'm going to train, waking up, going to train, and felt like it was raining and it was cold. And it was my first ever winter. Like I'm from Cairns to here, and I was like, it's 5 degrees, it's raining, and I'm going to train and run around in the rain and cold, and it is miserable. And I'm like,
and you're just being alone. Oh,
exactly. I said I had one of my dogs, and I was like, what the fuck have I done? I was like, I've moved from Gold Coast, where I can wear a hoodie and board shorts and thongs all year round, or like all through winter, and swim all year round, and like I've come to this place, it's a fucking shithole. I said, I'm doing my 5 years and getting the fuck out of here. And then towards the end of my 5 years, I'm like, I fucking love this place. I said, I love the hills and I love the people, and I've got my YouTube channel with cars and stuff like that, and I love the car culture, and I've met so many great people just through Adelaide and the car community, and I just fallen in love with the place.
That's sick.
And I was just like, everyone asked me, so you're not going to stay in Adelaide? And I said, fucking oath I am. I love this place. This is me. It's my pace. It takes half hour to get anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's not too much traffic. Some questionable drivers like anywhere. And like I've got plans to build this house, and I want to stay there.
That's so
hopefully
good, eh?
buy old mate behind me's got 75 acres, so if I can buy a bit more off him and just sort of keep that'd be the plan, you know. And he said he's open to that, but whether he is or not, but so that's me, and I'm happy with just chilling out in Adelaide and cruising.
That's a cool place to be, man, because I feel like it's so I've been in this place before where you kind of get caught up in like more, like wanting more. Like I think that if you can get into a mindset of wanting less, like being happier with less, but I think that, you know, people could look at that as like a negative in a sense, like, oh, you should always want to improve, you should always want to...
Yeah, exactly.
But it's sort of materialistically, I don't think it makes sense to want more. And I'd say it all the time too, like, I know a couple like fairly successful people that have like uber successful. They've kind of like, they've won the game, you know, like the game of life, like they've beat it, they've got all the cheat codes, like they've clocked it, and now they just fucking cruise around doing whatever they
want to do.
And like those people do what you said, like they'll sit on a tractor and they'll like disc a track, and you know, it's just like them and their wife on their farm, and then it's really like common, you know, with these people, and it's sort of the people in the middle that are like on the up and like sort of striving heavily to get to that place that are different from that. And I just would always see these guys, I'm like, fuck, I really should, as much as I can catch myself, I'm like, I should skip that step and just go to the farm. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, let's
absolutely.
skip the bullshit, you know?
Yeah, that's it. And it's like, it is like, I mean, you've always got to set yourself goals and want to try and achieve as much as you can in life. And I always love being busy and love doing stuff, but then you can overreach and then you end up just cooking yourself or whatever. Like it's me with training, and then I'm trying to sort of grow my YouTube channel and a few other things that I'm trying to do, and it's just like you can get us sort of ahead of you a bit, but because that's probably why I like, you know, like just the simple me sitting on a tractor listening to tunes, you know, like that's the most simple thing for me. Like I'm doing something that needs to be done, but it's like it's at my pace and it's just chilling, because like I'm in a pretty high stress environment with sort of professional football, and for probably 6 to 8 months of the year where it's high intensity,
like locked in.
And you know, like, and the cars have always been sort of my out where I can just sort of concentrate on something completely different to what my actual job is, and then the little farm I've got is like the total opposite of both of them, where I can just switch off and have a mind-numbing nothing and just have a good time and just relax and you know, like just chill out. It's just having a balance of everything, because like you said, those dudes who are just chasing and like if that's what you want to do in life, that's what you want to do in life, but you got to have a balance. People talk about balance, and it's huge. But like you said, you want to skip to that next bit where it's just you're just sitting like with your feet up on a farm doing just little fixing fences or, you know, shit like that, like
projects, because like with the farm, like it'll take a long time for you to complete it, you know?
Exactly, get it to where I want it, where I think it's going to be, and it'll probably never be
get there.
Where I want it to be, but it's still that's the journey. It's just that's it, the journey of getting it to where you kind of think you want it.
Oh, dude, it's funny. Like me and my chick, she's like planting like native trees, and you know what I mean? Like, what kind of birds could you get in? And like, I feel like there's so much. It might seem like so simple and such like a simple thing, but I feel like when you're in a place like your farm, when you're really there, like you can really notice things like, oh, we need bees. Like, oh, there's bees over here. And like these bees help this, and then it brings these birds in. And like, so it might seem like it's just there's nothing going on. But because you're like really present with it and like you're really in the moment, you can like notice so many things that are going on around you. That it's not like it's just part of like the ecosystem. It's not like this thing you've put there or like something you're bringing to the table. It's like what's happening while you're there and while you're not there.
Yeah, that's it. And it's, you know, like it's making, you know, a bit more, what do you call it? Like just making it a better place for not only where you are, but for everything else that's around you as well. And making a natural habitat for, you know, like animals. Like my dogs lose it nearly every night. There's so many like rabbits and foxes and stuff just running around. Like the next door neighbor, he's got, what does he got? He's got goats. And he has a big dog that lives in there with him. And she protects the goats.
Really?
I forget, it's like Malamute or something like that. Big dog.
Oh, yeah.
And so she's
Malamute, I think they call
Malamute
it,
or something. Yeah, something like that.
I want to see one of those. Fuck, they're like a massive.
Yeah, it's a white. They look like similar to a golden retriever, like protective dog or something.
Alaskan Malamute. There it is.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Not quite that one, I reckon. They're different. They're a white dog. I might have got it wrong, but they sort of have the same sort of aspect where they sort of, I think they protect their herds and all that sort of stuff. So she's in there and she'll bark at me every time I sort of drive up, but then the neighbour, he just gets off-cut meats from the butcher. They just sort of give him meat, and he just comes over and just lobs them over the over the fence, like
for the
dog, and then he gives like my dog's a bloody shit ton of meat as well, and they love him whenever he comes in. But I'll come home, it's been pissing down rain all day, and then I'll walk inside. My older dog, he's like 10, he's American Staffy, he's got a leg in front of like a deer leg sitting by the heater that comes on, and it's just like the whole house smells like rotten meat. And I'm like, mate, if I'm not here, don't you dare give my dog any meat. So there are foxes, there's like all sorts of animals, wild cats and stuff ripping around everywhere, kangaroos. It's awesome. But dogs go wild at night.
So do you live there full time, or have you got a place in there? Oh, so
I live
you
there
just
full time.
Just went in.
Yeah.
So how far away is it from?
I'm only like 30 minutes from the CBD.
Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah, and then I'm probably about 50 minutes of training.
Yeah.
So it's not bad. I get up early, and then so I get a sort of clean run to training, and mate, it's like, and I love driving, so clearly I drove here, and so it's just like, mate, I have my coffee in the morning and just drive myself in, and then on the way home it's like, because you got to go up the big freeway, and I just love hitting that freeway, and so I'm out of here. It's just as soon as I hit the freeway,
hard stop.
Yeah, exactly. So it's it's the best. And I moved up there. I was like looking at, I have a place like near the city. I've still got it. I'm trying to sell it next year, but when I bought that place, I was looking sort of everywhere around town, and then I went up to the hills once, and this is just as I bought my place, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. I said, imagine having like land up here, and I jumped on realestate.com and saw a place, 16 acres, 13 minutes from like the bottom of the freeway, 16 acres, and it was the same price as what I bought my place for. I was like, can I get out of this? It's like, no, it's already settled, and I'm like, it was like 16 acres, 4-bedroom, tennis court, pool. That place is worth like $3 million now.
Yeah.
Plus. Yeah. And it's like 16 acres, and it's like, and it was sort of like rolling hills and nice view. And you
weren't into moto then? No. Imagine the fucking tracks you could have built.
Exactly. That's all. It's sort of like everywhere now. And like, because all the boys I ride with now, they're like, they came around for a big bonfire at my place not long ago, and they're like, we'll just get
turn track here, exactly, freestyle down ramp.
That's what they're like. They're like, we'll just get the 110s here, and then we'll just like make a track, and then we'll get the big bikes, and then we'll just fly around. It'd be awesome. Jump the road, do this, do that. It's just like, let's do it. So it's like, mate, I'm just loving where I'm at the moment.
So sick.
It's good.
So you said before about your first ever winter. Fuck, that's a real thing, eh? I moved to Melbourne when I was like, I want to say like 18 or 19. I can't remember. Yeah. But I moved to Melbourne. I actually stayed in Glenn's place when they were building the tracks in Anglesey.
Yeah,
Torquay. Went down there, man, and I had no... You remember Dennis Bear?
Bear?
Yeah, so like he was down there at that time, like all those boys were down there, and it fucking hit me like an absolute sack of shit, and I was like fucking depressed, bro. Like
it's a different thing, eh?
Dude, I could not get my head around how fucking cold I was. I remember mornings like getting the lid off of water and like scraping ice because I had nothing else to scrape the fucking ice off my windscreen.
And Melbourne's different too. I think it's colder than Adelaide it cuts through you somehow, Melbourne. And I'm not the biggest fan of Melbourne. Like I haven't spent the most. I've always sort of been to Melbourne because we fly in, fly out, but I just never had a really good time there, and it's just
you've never been a revolver at 4 a.m. Neither have I actually, but I hear good things.
I have been out in Melbourne, and that's always been good fun. I suppose it's just trying to find yourself after those times.
Yeah, you just leave a big part of yourself there.
But yeah, so that's but yeah, Melbourne's just a cold place in winter and in Canberra, and like that's what this year has been for, I suppose, Adelaide as well. It's cold, wet, just wet, and like in the hills where I am, it gets 40% more rain. So it's just been, I mean, it's green as hell. It looks amazing, but like underfoot, there's just water everywhere. I had a golden retriever, take him for one walk around the block.
Just
he's black,
shit everywhere. Oh.
So I got to wash him every time I take for a walk. But yeah, no, it's the cold is a different thing if you're like used to like 33 degrees and 1,000% humidity.
Yeah.
And then you go into like a cold climate to try and live.
It can rattle you.
Oh, absolutely. Put you in a bit of a hole.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Yeah. And how old were you?
25.
Oh, all right. So imagine if you went straight from Cairns to like play for Port Adelaide, you probably wouldn't have lasted.
No, absolutely not. And you talk about kids getting homesick and stuff when they get drafted, and that's fair enough because like I moved out of home when I was 17. My parents still say we didn't finish raising you. And that's probably fair enough. Like it's I moved straight in with my brother and I was a carpenter and school based, and I got to a second year as a school based, and then went straight into the working force, and I was living in Redland Bay, working out at Ipswich, starting at 6 and having a half-hour break, and then work until 5, and then going to football train nearly every night, and I hated it. Absolutely hated it. I just wanted to quit and go home. But
so when you come out of school, so you don't get to play footy full time straight up. Like you got to do a bit of, because I guess like, does that shit happen nowadays? Because I mean, in like the motocross sense, you get like a guy that comes out of amateurs and then they just go pro. Yeah, and you know what I mean. Then you're just full time, kind of on the program. But for you guys, maybe you have to work a bit, or
it's with say schooling and stuff down in like Melbourne and Adelaide and that, they finish school when they're 18. Yeah, so they go straight to the draft. Yeah, so they'll go straight out of school where they play like their club level footy, their school footy, and possibly seniors, I think. And then they'll go from there. No, they won't probably play seniors. I don't even know. But yeah, they'll be club footy, their club footy, and then their school footy. Then they'll go straight to the draft, and go straight to a football club wherever they get drafted to. Most of the time, the kids will know where they're going. Yeah. If they're a top 10, they basically know. They'll have a rough idea what teams, and because of the picks and all that sort of stuff, where they've got to go. But so all the sort of other sort of lower sort of kids, they'll just end up sort of wherever a club can go. But that's just the way it goes. And then they come in and they get billeted out to families. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what we sort of did, and they still do that a bit. But some of the kids these days, they just sort of get together, find good mates who they've played a bit of state footy with or school footy with, and they go, "Let's get a house," and then they have to tick it off by the club. Yeah. And they said, "Can they live together?" and all this sort of stuff. And then they go, "Yeah, right." They go and rent a house, or some of them get paid well enough where they can just go and buy a house. Yeah. So then they move in, and then you got to get. Then it's just on. Yeah. And it's like, as you do, you have a share house. It's a pretty good time. Yeah. And the boy, you just got to make sure there's not the Uber Eats bags aren't stacking up by door width high, and you got the right blokes in there, and then the dietitians will go around there and help and cook meals and all that sort of stuff. So it's totally different. Like, but some kids will just go straight to a billet and they'll stay there for a year because they're happy there, and it's like a sort of transition. Good, like
halfway.
Exactly. Which I did the same thing. I had family friends who I used to live with in Runaway Bay when I moved here. Yep. I moved from Brisbane, lived with my brother and then went to a billeted house because that's what they wanted us to do. So I sort of went with family friends, and it was awesome. They looked after me, did me washing and all that sort of stuff, and then until they were like, "Right, you got to help us a bit." Yeah, and then they were like, "Actually, you know what, I'm just gonna leave." Yeah, pretty much. Oh, we're gonna do that. I'll go move out. Yeah. That's it.
So how long was it till you? So did you get drafted? So you were in the draft?
No, so I didn't go to the draft because I was a Queenslander, and I had to and the Gold Coast came along as a new team. So I had the choice to go I could go into the draft if I wanted, or because the Gold Coast were like, we would want to sign you for 3 years, where the draft was only 2 years and less money at that time. And as a tall, skinny bloke, you need more time to develop before you can play. And I was like, oh, well, 3 years will work out fine for me, because it went TAC Cup, VFL, then AFL.
Yeah.
So the first 2 years were just like basically a development years, and then so I decided to sign with the Suns. I was the first signing for the Gold Coast Suns, and
sick.
And
did Tony Cochrane own it then, or
no, he was. I think he was on the board at that stage. Yeah. But
I just know, unrelated, but I just know him. So.
Yeah. So
I know nothing about AFL.
That's all right. Well, man, like I always tell people, it's like, look, I play the game, I don't follow it.
Yeah.
Like it's like a job to me. Like I love playing the game. Like I'm a competitor, and I love that side of it. But everything else that comes with it is just bullshit. It's just so hard. Like it's just so hard to switch off from it, because it's relentless. And football's huge in Adelaide, so that's another reason why I moved out to the hills, because I can just be away from it.
Yeah.
But so I signed the 3-year deal, and then did the 3 years there, and then got another contract for another year. And then sort of sign a three year after that, and then so but there was a mate of mine who he elected to go into the draft because he knew Collingwood were going to pick him up, so he went, and he was ready to play footy straight away, in which he was Dane Beams, so he was straight in and played footy, and he's a phenomenal footballer.
Yeah, right. So you knew you had to develop like physically.
Yeah. I was like, I was like 97 kilos, but like I was 6'7", 6'8", whatever I am now. But yeah, I was just like string bean.
That is a fucking tall kid.
Yeah, well, and like I was skin and bone, and and then got straight into a program, and then I went from like 96 to like 105 within the first year, sort of thing.
Fuck, so just hitting the weights,
weights, and eating proteins and all that sort of stuff. And now I don't have any proteins and all that stuff, because I just get. I'll just get massive.
Yeah.
It's like it's funny, because like I sort of got you get to the age where you know your body, what it reacts to and what it doesn't, and it's like I always get, after the football season, give myself 2 weeks of just nothing. And I get to my buffer's like 116 kilos. I get to it like that. It's so fun.
Comes up quick.
Oh, it does. And it's like, all right, you're going to start pulling your head in now, and then you just got to try and
What's the go-to cheat meals for you? Like, what are you into?
Oh, I'm mad pizza man. So just like American pepperoni and cheese, family size pizza.
Just smack a couple of them back.
Smash a couple of them, and I'm sweet.
No chocolate, shit like that?
Oh, no, I have chocolate here and there. But like, I'm mad on pizzas, and then probably burgers, chips and all that sort of shit. All that stuff.
Just pub shit.
Yeah, pub shit, exactly. Palmies and all that. There's great pubs in Adelaide. And
there are.
You just... go down to a pub. Like I go to a pub like at least once a week in Adelaide, and just by myself sit down there and have a pub meal and drink a beer and then go home. It's fucking brilliant.
Good. So you getting beefed up to play the game. Like you said, you not like huge into all the surrounding sort of stuff, but like the play in itself. And so I guessing as a kid that's fucking 6'8", you've either got basketball or AFL. Like you kind of get your sport kind of chosen for you.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that the mountain bikes and the extracurricular stuff kind of like helped you into the pro stuff a little bit, because you didn't get as like into it in that sense?
Infatuated
like
with it.
Some people get so into it, becomes like everything, and it kind of can fuck them in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I had sort of other interests outside of just what I was doing. Like I wanted to play basketball. Like was like, I wanted to be a basketball, not AFL. And like I'd sort of dabbled in AFL, but I didn't like it. And my brother loved it. And so I'd play basketball and just want to do that and try to play the representative stuff, and went alright at it, but wasn't there wasn't a great pathway for basketball here in Australia. I'm pretty sure there is one now. It's getting much better with the leagues. Or the NBL is awesome. It's at a really good spot, but there wasn't really sort of much great culture and stuff there. And then I sort of got to about 15, 16, I think, and it was just sort of like, oh well, I don't think. And I was just, because I didn't really like playing with the coaches and stuff of my age group, and then so I just went and played like B grade or C grade or whatever with my dad's mates, and I was just having the best time ever. And I was like, I'm not really doing anything here, and then sort of jumped into footy again, and then was trying more and more, and then got asked to join a few clubs in Brisbane, and went from there. So definitely to be out, and like that's why I think that I'm able to detach from the just mad footy life, is because like I've got so many other interests that where I can pull myself completely away from it. It took me a while to be able to do it, especially moving straight to Adelaide. To Adelaide sort of after being up here in the Gold Coast when no one knew who we were. Yeah. We could do whatever the fuck we wanted to do, go out, have a drink, and
no one really
sort of cared, because we were just this new football club that sort of everyone went and watched on Saturday afternoons, because we always had the 1:45 sort of Saturday or Sunday, so people would just go watch us and for pre-drinks and then head out after that, and we'd all see them out anyway. So that's just what we used to do, and then moved to Adelaide. It was proper culture shock. Like I got in trouble because I was having drinks and going out and doing what a normal 25-year-old would do, and then get back to the club.
Yeah, right.
It's like, what do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean I can't hit the piss with the
boys? Exactly. It's like, I was out past this time. That's a curfew. It's like,
oh, really?
I was like, I didn't know we had a curfew. It's like, oh, okay, well, righto. And then people started feeling like I had someone, first time I went out in Adelaide, like just noticing people sort of filming a lot more, and then I was sort of standing in a club with a few of the boys, and then I had someone come up to me and shake my hand and call me a cunt to my face.
Really?
So you're a cunt. And I was like, what? I was like, am I? You know, like, and I hadn't, like, I'd never experienced anything like that, you know, like this is really probably before sort of social media was just as big
as it is.
As big as it is. And I was like, what the I was like, this motherfucker. So you can't do that. And I'm like hanging on to him, and then like the boys are like, let him go. No.
He's all right.
He's all right. He's drunk. And I'm like, fuck this.
Fuck this dickhead.
This is bullshit. Yeah. And then you start playing, and then you get all the stuff online, because everyone's so passionate down there, and even your own supporters and stuff can sort of rip you and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah, because I guess like no one's bigger than the club.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. And that's the way it is as well. But, you know, like we've got to be able to work together and sort of make it all work. But, you know, like they're so passionate down there. That's football. That's all it is. There's two teams, and like they love to hate each other, and we love to hate them as well. And that's because that's what's sort of so good about it, is that you just want to, you know, you want to beat the other team in your city, so then you have bragging rights, you know. And like those games are fucking wild too. Like they're just awesome.
So who's the other team? So
Adelaide
Port
Crows.
Adelaide. Oh, and then the Crows.
Yeah. So the showdown, like the build up to those games are awesome. And
what time of the year is that on?
There's one at the start of the year. We play them twice a year. There's one at the start of the year, then one sort of towards the end of the year.
Fuck, I'll come to one.
Absolutely, come down, man. Sick. Like come to one of our home games, because like I feel like we do it better than them.
Yeah,
I'm always going to think that. But like we have "Never Tear Us Apart" song before we sort of, as the sort of last sort of siren goes, we're all walking out positions, and "Never Tear Us Apart" from NXS comes on, and the whole crowd's singing, and mate, it's giving me like goosebumps thinking about it now. It's fucking awesome.
That is one cool thing. Like AFL, I actually watched the AFL Grand Final this year.
Yeah,
fucking balls up that was. I haven't watched one game of footy all like I haven't watched a game of AFL. The wrong game to watch. Yeah, and then so like it was me and my mate, and one of my mates is a like big fucking sports dude, and he's like, you gotta come, boys, it'll be fucking sick. Like they had the downstairs of this sick place in Perth rented out, and then me and Blake, he's not into footy at all. Yeah, we're like, right, open mind. We're here with the boys, and I was like, what the actual fuck are we? What this is like the team that won the minor premiership versus the team that got the wooden spoons. Yeah. What are we actually doing here, boys?
Mate, it was like I didn't watch a single minute of like the whole final series, and everyone's telling me that it's the best final series ever, all this sort of stuff.
That's what they were saying until the grand
final. Yeah, I was actually in Cootamundra racing my my Monaro at the airstrip in Cootamundra.
Is there a more Australian sentence that's ever been said?
Racing my Monaro at
the airstrip.
Yeah, so that I was like, and my parents were there, and they're like, "Oh, the game's about to start," and they're like, "What are you going to do?" I'm like, I'm doing it.
I'm about to go 11 seconds to quarter mile on this motherfucker.
I'm going to wring this thing's neck.
What am I about to do? 11,000 RPM.
So, yeah, that's what I was doing while the grand final was playing. And then, yeah.
It was absolute trash.
Yeah.
Like, could not believe it. But the point within that is like how crazy passionate the like AFL fans are. Like it's like heritage shit, you know. They're like legacy brands of Australia.
Yeah, it is. And like we've got one of the, well, if not the oldest history in sort of VFL, SANFL or AFL or whatever the hell it is. Like I'm only new, I've been there 7 years, but it's still new to me.
Yeah.
Because like we're like 153 years old, our football club, you know.
That
like,
is mental.
I know, right? Like to even think about that, it's like it's just absurd, the history that our club sort of has, and it's amazing, and that comes out sort of throughout the year, and we like you have a sort of launch and all that sort of stuff, and that's like we've lost that sort of bit through COVID and all that, but now that's all starting to come back, and just like I remember the first sort of launch I went to, and it was like they basically had all the old players and all that stuff that was still around that would just come through and they'd talk about their stories. It was unbelievable to like learn about like the history of the football club, and I was like, wow, this club is old as shit.
Yeah,
like it's wild. And then you understand the passion from the
it's
fans.
Like generations.
And, generations. That's it. It's like
bred into you.
There's like I always get like sort of messages from people who like kids have sort of just been born and they've already got like port clothes on and they're already a member and all this sort of stuff, you know, like they've signed them up. They're like a minute old, and then before they like sign the birth certificate, they've got them signed up to a membership, you know, like that's just the way, like that's the way it is. And it's like, it's not out of this way. Like that's not anything unusual. It might like sound weird to say in like cans or whatever, but it's just like this is the culture. And that's it. But it's why the game's been around for so long, and it brings out, because like we were North Queensland Cowboys, you know, but there's not even close to the history and the heritage, and I imagine it's probably pretty inspiring to draw from too at times. Oh, absolutely. Like I feel like I'm always going to be biased to the way our fans are, especially at our home games, and you'd be like 60,000 people at a home game and like in a final, like we played Geelong. I remember it was like one of the best games we've played ever, and we like smashed Geelong in like a final, and the crowd was just unbelievable, and like I'll remember that for the rest of my life, you know, like how that crowd was and how that game played. Like we played unbelievable and then played horrible the next week and got knocked out of a prelim. So but it was just that's why it's so good. It's like, doesn't matter if there's, you know, 50,000 or 10,000, our fans are so loud. And the Adelaide Oval, it's like a big like Coliseum thing. It's echoes and it's just phenomenal. Like to be able to, I feel so privileged to be able to like run out there and play and do, and like I only sort of starting to realise that now I'm getting older, I'm getting towards the end of my career, how much you sort of really appreciate this sort of stuff, and being able to play, you know, football for a living and be in the environment that I'm in and be able to play in front of all those people and have a career out of it. It's unreal. And, you know, like we've always had old blokes come in and tell us, like as we're young kids, you know, they'll go like that. And it's like you just got to, you know, try and do everything you can to play as long as you can. And, you know, you're like young bloke, you're like, whatever, mate. And then but then now I'm standing up there telling these young kids the same thing, you know, like you just got to make sure you make everything count and all that sort of stuff, because it does go so quick, and you appreciate just what you're doing more, and you look after your body a lot more, and to try and, you know, drag it out because you don't want it to end.
Yeah, well, I think that's probably one of the cool things about, like, there's a negative thing in that you got this short career, right?
Yeah.
In that, you know, you might play footy for 10, 15 years and then it's over.
Yeah.
But like, how many people just that they never do anything like that, and they've just got like a regular life.
Yep.
And then they have that realization as they're like 75, 80. That it's short, life's short, and it's going to be over. But then you're almost like, I saw this with my granddad before he passed away. Like you could tell he was kind of getting sick.
Yeah.
And then he could tell he was getting sick, and it's almost like a light bulb went off in his head as an 80 fucking year old guy that like, oh, I'm coming up to the end.
Yeah.
So it's like when you're an athlete and you've got like this real short career, you've got an end point, but it's like at 30.
Yeah,
and exactly. I feel like that can it can go both ways. Like it can fuck you, but it can give you a crazy perspective to then just take into the next 50 years of your life that other people might not get, because you end up like you live a footy life, and then you've got to go outside of that. Yeah,
exactly. And like a football life is, it's like anything, has its ups and downs, and like with the injuries and all that sort of stuff, and certain things you struggle with. I know I struggle with sort of in the last probably 3-4 years or whatever like that. I've sort of had real problems, but it's but then I look at it and I'm like, I wouldn't change a thing, because like the way I've been able to sort of get myself through a lot of this stuff it's made me who I am now, and like I can appreciate all these things a lot more because of what I've been through and what I've done. And you're dead right, like to be able to look at the way look at life the way I do now, I wouldn't be able to if I didn't have any of the things that I went through. So it's like, like I look at it like I'm blessed. I'm not lucky. I'm blessed to be where I am, and I'm to be able to do what I can do. But I've had to work very hard to get to where I am, and I think people forget that as well. And but yeah, I'm very excited for what comes next after football. And I sort of looked at it where it's like, oh, maybe I'll pull up, and like maybe I can just sort of step into the next thing in my life now. And it's like, well, I'm still healthy. I still got this urge to, like play footy. And it's like, while I've got that, there's no way I'm stopping, because like I'll still look at it and I'm like, I could still do that.
Yeah, I can still flog these fuckers.
Well, that's it. You've got to have that sort of self,
the mongrel.
Little bit of mongrel, a little bit of arrogance about like, all right, these young blokes coming in, they're going to be better than me. I've just got to try and be better than them.
Yeah.
And like, while I've got that sort of bit of fight and bit of mongrel in me, I want to keep going, and I will. And then it's till that I get to that point where I'm like, oh, fuck this.
Another day.
I don't know if I can do this. Yeah. As soon as I get to that, that's when you sort of go.
You'll know too.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And because I'm trying to, sort some things after life with my YouTube and cars and all that sort of stuff. And whether that'll get me to where I want to go is, we'll see. But I'm just happy with the journey that's sort of going, where that's going at the moment. But while I'm playing footy, I still want to put 100% into that and make sure my body's still good, which it is. I had another 2 surgeries this year from busted ankle, which I've had 6 on the left and then 5 on the right. So it's most of them have been cleaned up. So I had a big one at the start of the year and then another clean up. But I broke my right leg and that sort of messed me up for a while. But yeah, no, the body's good at the moment. So that's just trying to make sure it's all in right place.
Running order.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the hardest bit.
It'd be cool too to be in the position where you can kind of impart culture, because I feel like the culture is something that is transferred. Like you can have culture stop completely if you lose a certain like a group of people, absolutely. And then it's like it's over, and then to work to like build that up again could never come back the way that it was before.
Yeah.
So like to be in a group where you've been there for a bunch of years and then you got these young kids coming through, then you've appreciated the culture and you've got respect for it, to then like that's valuable for a club, even if like let's say your best footy years are behind you.
Yeah.
But like fuck man, it's almost more important to the club to be a cultural guy.
Oh, exactly. That's huge these days, and that's what clubs harp on. Like harp on like the culture and being connected to one another, like almost to the point where it's like, righto,
kumbaya, guys. Fuck, we get
it gets to that, man. Like it does, because they're trying so hard to keep a core group together, and that's the main thing, is keeping a core group and a young group together, because blokes always get enticed by going home or more money somewhere else or a better side or anything like that. You create a amazing group, an amazing environment to learn, and blokes to be in that one, who want to be in that environment and love coming to the club, which I've loved coming to the club this year more than any other year I have. I've just loved, the young boys we have are just phenomenal humans, and they're hilarious, and like they just want to play good footy, and they want to learn, and that's just what you want. And that's the main thing, is creating a great environment for where blokes can be themselves and do what they have to do and have a standard where they have to live by.
Yeah.
And I feel like with the club this year, we were really trying to find that probably more than what we were pushing it, more than trying to find it. I suppose you were searching for it instead of letting it sort of happen.
Build.
So, and like we do connection sort of things, and that it sort of became something that was happening every week, where you sort of struggle to sort of find something to talk about.
Yeah, then you're like manufacturing it.
Yeah, exactly. And I felt
what
like,
you just needed was a trip to Mexico.
Exactly right. I was like,
mid-season, cameras away, we're fucking locking in.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get to know you and you 10 times better. Let's have a beer.
Yeah. Come here. I'm going to back you into a corner for 4 hours and talk your fucking ear off. Yeah.
You won't want to listen to me ever again.
But I guarantee we'll be mates after.
Exactly. Lifelong. But so that's like, it's sort of gone away from the football. Like, it went away a fair bit from like drinking and all that sort of stuff. But young blokes, you got to give them a release. Like, you got to let their hair down, because you'd sort of run players and young blokes especially into the ground. And I found that as well. Like, they'd be like, right, I'm going off the grog. I'd go off it and be off it for 4 or 5 months, and then I'd be like, why the fuck am I doing this?
Yeah, why am I playing footy?
Yeah,
in general.
Exactly.
Yeah, I could just be a normal guy that could just do what they want to do.
Exactly. It'd be like, fuck this, I'm going to have a beer. And then you go have a beer and you catch up with the boys, and you actually just be and not try and be like, you're just a normal bloke hanging out with your mates, having a few beers, and that goes just such a long way. And then you get to know boys. Like, we do a captain's barbie every year, where at the start, but before the season sort of comes on, we sort of get together and we go like this. This year was at my place because I just had the farm, and we
sick.
just had like a little like a DJ sort of thing set up, and then a bunch of chairs with sort of fire, and then I've got a little 1990 Hilux, back that up, put it on a thing, put all the piss in the back of that, and ice and all that sort of stuff, and we just sat around, and everyone had to dress up, had a pizza thing there, and we just sat around, drank beers, and you get to know everyone because they're all young blokes, draftees that come in straight away, and then basically train with you, and then you just send them. And to be able to actually get to know them and know their personalities, you give them a few beers, and then they start to come alive.
Loosen
and
up a bit. Some
bloke who hasn't said 5 words is now the loosest bloke and the loudest bloke, running around like with his shirt off, and like just being a young kid. And that's what you got to promote, I think. Anyway, just blokes be themselves.
And people it's the AFL, because. Yeah, it's like a full double-edged sword. Like, you can, especially when there's like companies and shit involved too, like big sponsors and corporate dollars and all that shit. So there's like a line that's got to be walked, but you almost can't, like, it's what I'd always think about. Like, you got to be a wild man to run at you full clip and just try and take your fucking head off, right? So like you gotta be cooked. so then it's like, you expect that dude to not drink and go to church on Sundays and like just be this straight square.
Yeah.
But then on the field, you want him to be an absolute murderer. Yeah. It's like, well, they're just, those two things don't necessarily go together. And it's like, to try and like push one thing and not the other. And dude, you see it with fighters all the time. I think that's why the UFC is so popular right now, or like over the last few years, because they're like, Dana White is the president. He's like, what do you want me to do? Yeah. They're fucking lunatics. They're all lunatics.
Exactly.
I just pay lunatics to work for me. And it's just like, that's no different to the AFL. That's no different to the NRL. That's no different to any of these sports. Like, they're fucking lunatics. That's why they're out on the field, and that's why we're in the chairs and we look at them and go like, have a go at these guys. Like, this is insane. We can't do it.
Exactly. And it's like, athlete, highly strung.
The pressure.
Yeah, exactly. And all that sort of stuff. And like with the UFC, it's like, he pays those blokes to bash the shit out of each other. Of course they've got to like screw loose. That's just who they are, and that's just what they're going to be. I mean, like, there's a little bit of difference with footballers, but like,
you still got to be pretty tapped to play footy.
Exactly. It's like, you've got to be out. Like, our game's 360. Like, so someone can come out of nowhere and And like that shit just happens all the time. Big packs, and I get my head taken off most times. Every time I go near the footy, you know. Yeah. So it's like, and that's my job. I'm supposed to just crash packs,
but you've got to be a certain person to do that. Yeah. And that's not the kind of person that's gonna be choosing to read at night every night over have a beer with the boys.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I get it all the time because I get a bit of white line fever where I'm quite angry because I'm a competitor and I hate to lose and all this sort of stuff, and I get I get wound up, and I just like, and that's who I am when I'm on the field and all that sort of stuff. And then I meet people outside and they're like, oh well,
nice,
you're actually really nice. And I'm like, you think I walk around jacked up ready to murder someone like around the street? Like that's just not like, you can't do that. You can't live like that. So, and that's what I love about it. I said I can be this, like aggressive, intimidating person on a football field, but then I'm just a normal dude who's just nice.
Well, I think we all have that inside us to a certain degree.
Absolutely.
Like that's what, for me with doing jiu-jitsu, that's like my place where I can just go and be a fucking dog.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean? And then there's people that I can't beat, but I can just go so fucking hard on those, and it's fine.
Yeah.
We're all good. No one's got any hard feeling, like we're literally belting the fuck out of each other. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I've got that part of me, but it's like, that's not a person that can walk around in society, but it's also, that's not a bad thing to have, like, if you've got the right outlet for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it is. It's an outlet. It's somewhere where you can be that person, and it's okay. And you're with people that are doing the exact same thing, where they are just taking the world's frustrations out on you, and you're doing the exact same thing to them,
and not personal.
Oh, exactly.
Sometimes I guess it would be, but it's like you're just there. It's like, these are the rules.
Yeah.
Stay within the rules. Do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, that's it. And that's the way. And like, you could be like out in the football field. You would, like, you and a defender could like be at each other all day. He smashes you, you smash him, and you'd be just lipping at each other all day. And then at the end of the game, siren goes. It's like, mate, love the battle. Always do. I always look forward to playing him because this is the battle that we have always.
Yeah.
And he's like, mate, I love it too.
Yeah.
And then you walk off, and like, that's it. You don't turn around and just fucking walk off.
And wait to get him again next time.
Exactly. It's like, fuck, he fucking got me today. Like, fuck. But then it's like, you do that. You go, all right, you fucking had me today. I was like, you were all over me. I wanted to rip your fucking... And he's like, mate, yeah, that's fair enough. And then you sort of go back and forth. You always have those sort of plays where you play against, and you're always looking forward to... You're nervous about the battle because...
Yeah, because you know it's going to be a battle.
Because it's going to be a battle, and it's always like that. I love that part of it. That is what I love about football, the competitiveness and knowing that I always have someone sitting on my fucking back shoulder every game, to be able to beat my opponent is what I live for.
Yeah, that's so sick. Yeah. Well, I think, it's like a delicate balance that I'm sure that the AFL has to kind of walk. But I think, man, we can definitely get into dangerous waters where you just try and pacify these wild dudes that you like want to pay to do wild things. Yeah. You can't pay someone to do wild things for 90 minutes a week, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly right.
You're paying a wild person to do wild things.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's going to fuck up every now and then, and again, Like,
he's a Bronco, baby. Yeah. All right, he's a Bronco. It is what it is.
That's just the way it goes. Oh shit! Yeah, no, that's it. It's just like, that's the way, like, these young blokes have just been like, they kill themselves to be this professional athlete week in, week out. It's gonna crack, and when it does, sometimes it's big, and you've got to be able to manage that, and that's what it's all about. Like with a football club, that's what the football club has to manage that. Yeah, because then you got to manage when blokes can have a release. So that's what we do. We have like 4-day breaks every now and then, sort of throughout the pre-season, because pre-season
would be grueling.
It's not as bad as it used to be. It used to just be like, righto, first like 4 months is just first like 2 months is just running, no footies, football. You don't see a football. It's just running. It's wrestling. And then after Christmas was footballs. But now it's all football because you want to be a good footballer. You want your team to know your structures and all that stuff. So it's all football, and that stuff gets you through. And then there's running at the end if you don't meet your target. targets through your GPS.
Yeah.
So there's all that sort of running, and if you have a big running session or like a big sort of training session where blokes are just smashing themselves, then the running at the end isn't much at all.
Yeah.
So that's where it's gone from like the old army
boot camp
SAS
style.
boot camp style to just getting the boys together to make sure they know the game plan and the way we want to play and the way we want to be and who we want to be on a football field. That's what it's all about.
That's
and
cool,
learning that, and that's good. It's still hard. We do like 15, 16 training sessions twice a week, or 3 times a week. Sorry, so Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. You do your big sessions, and then hills and stuff on Saturdays, and then half days on Tuesdays, Sunday and Thursdays off.
Fuck, that's a hectic schedule.
But like you love it.
Yeah,
you love it. Like because you're doing football.
Yeah,
there's obviously drills and running and shit that you just fucking hate, but you're out there competing against your mates, and everyone's trying to get fitter and trying to get stronger, and everyone's trying to help one another. So I've grown to like love that part of it.
Yeah,
and you feel so fucking good. You cooked afterwards, but it's like fuck.
Yeah,
that was a good day.
Good cooked.
Yeah.
How techie are they getting? I feel like the AFL is probably one of the more like maybe high tech into like bigger budgets, bigger teams. Like, so you said GPS. Like, if you don't hit your GPS numbers, are they like tracking your whole preseason? Yeah,
pretty much. So yeah, like it's all about your meters per minute these days. So how like
that's heavy.
I know, man.
Just even thinking about that, I'm like, oh, I don't like it.
Well, that's it. Some of the boys are like through the season, they're on like like 130, 140 minutes per minute. So just like on the move, on the tear, like flat out, and that's your midfielders, your wingers, like they're just constantly on the move. Big blokes like me are like 100, if that, like, so, and that's like, good going. And so that's what it's all about. It's like minutes per minute, and then your high speed is then how fast you're running, and then so your total distance, total time playing, and mate, we get a spreadsheet after the game, and then you can see where you go. Like, it's actually a thing. Like, I come off like shit. I'm cooked.
Yeah,
I reckon I had a good GPS. I reckon I had a good GPS day, and then like look, and you're like, oh, wasn't that good?
Really?
Sometimes, yeah. It's like, and then it's all nutrition, and then all the stuff, like you. Like no-dos and all that sort of stuff, Red Bulls, just to get you up, and then your gels. Like, I remember this year I hadn't had as many gels as I had this year because I only had half a preseason.
Yeah,
because I'm sort of was injured, and I just felt sort of unfit the whole time. So I was like just sucking about 6 gels into me a game, and
just like Tour de France shit.
Yeah, trying to get through, and I was playing a lot more ruck, which was in the middle. So I was just gassed all the time. But yeah, it's like there's so much data, and like they look at so basically with the GPS and all that sort of stuff, but then they also have stats and where we get our most stats, and like where teams score on you, or like how they res the ball, and just all this like ridiculous stuff that goes over my head. And like my role's like I said, crash packs, bring the ball to ground for the smalls, and just compete and make sure to defend when I have to. So it's pretty basic for me. Like these other midfielders and that, they got to know where the setup, where the ball's getting tapped, which I sort of learned a lot more about this year. But you got to try and be across everything. But I'm a simple man who likes simple things. It's like
go smash, brother.
Yeah, exactly. It's like see ball, get ball, like bash and crash and all that sort of shit. Like, so that's I see my role as that, but then also trying to be a leader and sort of hype everyone up. But it's mental, like the footage and stuff we watch after games as well.
Oh, so you started doing a lot of that stuff these days? Yeah,
that's huge. Like, it has been for probably the last 10 years, I suppose.
Yeah, really.
Or 5 years, it's just been huge. Like, we get we've got an app where they can send you sort of clips and stuff of what we can look at sort of the night before a training session, and then go through walkthroughs where you have a big oval sort of in an indoor area, and you sort of walk through where you're going to be, where it's set up, where your kick-ins, and then watching sort of edits. And most sort of the edits get sent of a full game, and then every time you touch the footy, you can see sort of like where you were. But then the line coaches, so forward backs and mids, they'll just pull out clips of like, you should have been here. So the ball, I'm standing here, ball's come in and it's left, and gone out this way, you should have been up here, you're still here.
Yeah,
So all that sort of, there's nowhere to hide.
No hiding.
Nowhere to hide. So I was like, yeah, I know where I'm supposed to be there, and I'm just sitting there like with my fucking hands on my hips.
Yeah, you're like, well, I knew I was supposed to go there, but like,
I was trying.
You run.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, we just need you. Like, we don't care if you like trundle, just get up there.
Yeah.
Because then you're first back and all this sort of stuff. So, yeah, there's nowhere to hide, and there's just like like so many like different stats and videos and everything, just always there.
That's sick though, eh?
Yeah,
like you'd never be like looking for a way to get better.
No,
like it's kind of right there in front of you if you want it.
And like it's like actually hard to go out of your way to not try and improve in that area, you know, and like to just like come in, clock off, like, and blokes notice that and blokes see that, and they'll just hit you straight away.
Yeah,
like you're fucking in and out, bro.
Yeah,
said you're not doing your rehab stuff, you're not doing this, and then that sort of just gets around, and but then you sort of see that, and blokes will see that, and then they'll be like, oh, I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
So then it's like, bang, they'll switch and they'll change the way they train and change the way
that's culture.
Oh, like, exactly
that's
right.
Part of
that's
being,
it.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's part of being in a good team, and you know, like even for us working here, you know, like there's three of us, like we are a team.
Yeah,
and you know, you got to think as a team, and it's hard to like these days, just I guess in this space too, like you don't really get to switch off, you know. It's 24/7.
It
like
is. We
got audiences all around the world. There's people that are watching shit all the time. There's messages are coming in all the time, and it's like you've got to be geared up to just fucking go, you know,
flat out
constantly. And I think like we're lucky we got a really good squad, but that's what I think about all the time. Like you going forward, you got to look for people that fit into that culture, that don't just want to clock in, clock out, do the bare minimum, because it's like, fuck man, the bare minimum just ain't gonna get it done. But that's most jobs these days.
Oh, exactly.
Really too, you know.
100%. There's and it seems like that's like what everyone sort of seems to do. It's just the bare minimum. Like there's, you know, I feel like just from basically trying to work out, like with building a house and all that sort of stuff, you're trying to find stuff like that, and it's like, oh, all right, well that was, and you tell them like, oh, I want this quote for this and this and this, and I want it sort of itemized, and it's like, it just comes as
one big quote.
And it's like, I don't understand why it's that much. Can you show me how you've done that? And then I'll itemize like one or two things. It's like, I still don't understand. So it's like, can you just do the work? Do the work. The work.
Yeah.
That's why it's a quote, and that's why you're trying to get my business. But like, I feel like because everyone's so busy, they've got everything. They're just like, oh, well, here's the price. If you want it, you want it. You know.
Yeah.
But that's just getting off topic. But
no, but I think it's important to think about, like, because I mean, I think that it's like I feel lucky in my life to have the mindset that I've got. And I feel like in life, your mindset is what gets you your results. Like, you know, you're 6'8", and like if you wanted to do a professional sport, like it's right there for you to do.
Absolutely.
But you can't do that without a certain mindset. You know, and I think that
absolutely.
And the good thing about mindset, so not everyone can be 6'8", obviously, but everyone can have a fucking gnarly mindset.
Yeah.
Like it takes time to do it. But I've always kind of run off like a rule for myself, in a sense, where it's like, once you see something, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
So don't ever hide from the truth, in a sense. Like if you see that something, if there's a better way to do something, and then the other thing, which kind of speaks to that point that you were talking about before, is like, you've got to be doing something.
Yeah.
At any time you wake up not many people wake up and just sit still, right? It's like you've got to piss, you got to eat, you got like you have to do things, right? And unless you're a monk that can just sit there all day and meditate, then you've got to do some shit. Why not do it right?
Exactly.
Like, why not do it the best way that you possibly can? Like, wouldn't that just make life more fulfilling? Like, would it, like, because where are you going? Like, what's next that you need to rush through this thing and not do a quote properly, or not, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like you're costing yourself more you're trying to get somewhere quicker, or you're trying to do something fast to get somewhere. But what's that future look like once you've cut this corner?
Yeah, exactly.
So to me, it's like, it might be off topic, but I think like that's the way that you fucking need to live your life. Like if you really want to live a great life, like you just moment to moment do the best job that you can.
Exactly right. And not a truer word spoken. It's like you wake up, you got to do something, and it's like, oh, I got to do this, but it's like, oh, I'll just do it. I'll just knock this over and do that, and then move on. But it's like, you're right. Like, where have I got to be after I do that?
Yeah.
It's like, what have I got on that's so important that I've got to do? I've got to do a shit job at that too, so I can do this. It's like same with fitness. It's like we've got a program that we've got to follow, and it's like Monday, Wednesday, Friday main running sessions, and then gym and all that sort of stuff. It's like, if I don't get up and do that running session either straight away, I just won't do it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'll just do it now, and then I know I'll feel fucking good after it.
Yeah.
And then I've got the rest of the day to do nothing.
Yeah.
And then it's like, but then sometimes you wake up and you just sort of like wake up a little bit later and you push it and you push it and you push it, and it doesn't get done. Or you're going like, oh fuck, I'll go do it in the middle of the day. It's stinking hot, and then you don't do the right reps, you don't do the right things, and it's just like, I did it, and you're like, in your head you're like, no, you fucking didn't.
Yeah, barely.
Yeah. So there's no point in you even doing that.
Yeah. So there's studies. I was actually reading this book at the moment. I don't know if you're a big reader, but there's a book I'm reading called The One Thing. It's quite good. It's just like a normal self-help sort of thing. It was written a while ago. But there was studies done on willpower, because like I'm think a lot about like free will and what is willpower and all that sort of shit. And it's like, it's pretty obvious to me at this point that we don't have free will, that we can just use however we please. You know, otherwise you do every rep, you do everything. Like when you wake up in the morning and you think something, the first thing, you wouldn't then immediately think of an excuse to not do it.
To not do it.
You know what I mean? Like what else? You just do it. So it's like, it's not there, right? Like we just don't have it. It's luck. Like it's luck that you do something, it's a fluke.
Yeah.
But there's actually been studies that are done that basically you lose willpower through whatever willpower that you do or do not have. Studies show that you lose it throughout the day. So essentially
throughout the day,
it's like a battery basically. So that what you said about if you don't do it first, you'll do it later. That, like for me, training on a Monday. Yeah. I have to train on a. There's no time where I think it's okay not to train on Monday, because if you don't do it Monday, it's so easy to then just
rest of the week.
Yeah, you just have a shit week, and then you're like, you know what, my body needs a rest. I'll have a week off. Like fuck, your mind can just fucking cook up.
You know what, you deserve it.
You
deserve it. Just have a spell, mate. Yeah, you're like, you know what, you're fucking right.
I knew I liked you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, let's go eat that pizza. Yeah, let's go do that. Fucking hell, you trained real hard last week.
Yeah.
Or yesterday.
Do you do much heart rate monitor stuff? Do they get you on that?
We haven't done it lately. Not a whole lot. It was like big years ago. Like we had a fair bit of that. But I think there's a few boys that'll run around. I think we have done now with the COVID stuff, because like there was a few boys who had like irregular heartbeats and stuff. Ooh. So after the jabs and all that. So which actually happened during a game and had to come off.
No shit.
And then finish the game, but they're all sweet. It was just like an irregular heartbeat, and that's just what's happened a couple of times. But yeah, we used to like run around with. I remember when I was first started with the Gold Coast, we used to run around. We used to have the heart rate monitor on. Yeah, like while we were playing, and it was the fucking most annoying thing, because you got blokes dragging your jumpers, and you constantly.
So you'd be constantly moving
pulling it up. So, but yeah, no. Not so much anymore, hey.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but
do you monitor on your watch?
Yeah, so I'll train all the way up till I strap my sort of wrist when I train and all that sort of stuff. But for the first sort of block of training, I'll just train with this on, because then you can see your heart rate and all that sort of stuff. And they're the best thing for like. These things have fucking everything on them, mate.
They're insane.
They're so good. And like my mate now, he's like running for like a 50 odd K run that he's doing for like a pancreatitis.
Like an ultra thing.
Yeah. Pancreatis cancer. And so I've been doing a couple of runs with them, and I did 5K. We did 6K on Monday and then 10K yesterday. And I'm like not really built for long distance, so I'm just trudging along. And I did it with him like maybe a month ago, and my heart rate was like 197 and just like sitting there. And I was like, I don't think I can go anymore, you know, like, and they're like, mate, drop back. He's like, you're coming. You're not dropping out. And I'm like, fucking, you're a weak dog. Come on, you can do it. And I ended up doing it, but then I was so sore for so long. But then this last time I was sitting at like 147.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like, but these things are just the best. You get so much data out of them. But
do you follow like the sleep and stuff? Like
yeah, I sleep with it as well, and sort of see where all your main sleep is, and they're fucking that good.
Yeah, that's been a big thing for dude. I'm so like into the sleep thing now. I think I'm just gonna buy a sleep apnea machine just to get like just so, better fucking
better data.
Have you ever seen like?
No.
Apparently they're just unbelievable. Like have you ever seen them?
No.
So type in like sleep. Oh, Roan's already on it. So you put, you know, the people that like snore real bad and they like wake themselves up when they sleep.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you get these like machines that pretty much just like lay next to your bed, and then you've got like a mask that just blows oxygen like into your nose while you're sleeping. Yeah, and apparently, dude.
Like that.
Yeah. And apparently it just is like full game changer for sleep.
Like knocks you out and like
you don't wake up because you're never struggling for air.
Wow.
Yeah, so I snore bad. Like I just got shit sinuses.
Yeah.
So but yeah, like I got super into my sleep, and now I'm like so zoned in on it that I can tell. Even I wake up in the morning, I'm like, fuck, shit REM sleep.
Yeah. Shit REM.
Oh, shit REM every day. Yeah. First thing I'm looking at. But not enough deep.
Yeah.
But apparently these are like gnarly good, man. Like I've been hearing so many people talk about. Bit kooky, but fuck if you can get over it, I reckon, because sleep's the most important thing for you.
Absolutely, definitely. Like I'll sit up at night. I'll like, all right, I'll have a thing on my phone saying time for bed, 8:45 sort of thing.
Same,
yeah, and then go lay in bed, and I'll sit on my fucking phone for like an hour. I'll put Netflix on, and I won't watch it. I'll just be like fucking around on my phone, and then I'm like, it's 9:30, 10, and I'm like, you've done it again.
Dude, I can relate.
It's like for fuck's sake, just put it down, mate.
Yeah, get off it.
Go to sleep. You know, like I'm so tired as well, but I'll just sit there and you're like, that was funny. And it's like, that's funny. You know, like.
Do you meditate at all?
No.
Yeah, that's the thing, mate. That's the thing that puts me to sleep.
Yeah, I hear so much of that.
Yeah, I'll do that pretty much every single. I just got one app that I use. There's like a bunch of shit on it.
Yeah.
Like different meditations and stuff like that. But yeah, now even when I like, because I do exactly what you do, like I used to, where I'd just be on my fucking phone scrolling. I got same thing, 8:45, my bedtime reminder goes off, 9:30, I'm fucking trying to get to sleep. But yeah, you'll just be scrolling like, I'm not tired. So now I got on my shortcuts, so I got the waking up app, and I just put that on and like, dude, there's a new series there's a new series on there that I've been like trying to listen to and actually like pay attention to. I'm out. I can't. Yeah. So maybe
I
give
might
that
have
a try.
To give it a crack. I do listen to rain sounds.
Yeah.
Like not that I need. I just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like so, I'll put that
Cans,
on.
bro.
Yeah. Exactly. Tin roof, like 10 hours, and then I'll wake up in the morning. It's still going. I'm like, yep. Turn off, I'm sweet.
Bang.
And it sounds, and like you wake up in the morning, it's like, that's a fucking good sound.
Jeffrey Dahmer whale noises. Have you?
I have not watched that. I'm like, I just don't go out of my way to watch that sort of shit to put me like in. Yeah,
it's a weird. Yeah, it can be a weird place.
Oh, absolutely.
But fuck, it was good. Wait, can you get Griff to turn that aircon up? It's getting a bit. It's hotter in here than it should be.
I'm a bit. I like always fucking sweat. So.
No, that's all good. We'll get the aircon going. Fuck yeah, but these things apparently that's the move. So
what would they be worth though?
I think about $1,100.
That's not too bad
for like a real good one. But
like, how you go and sleep with that? And like, do you move much when you?
Well, I haven't tried it yet. But I mean, fuck it. If it's like because
you get used to anything. Like I thought I could never sleep with a watch. I was like, there's always something fucking on you. But yeah.
So there's this dude. Go to More Plates, More Dates. So have you ever seen this dude on Instagram?
Nah. More plates, more dates.
Yeah, so he's like a bodybuilder guy.
Okay.
So like more plates.
Oh, okay,
More plates, more dates. So this dude, go to his Instagram. Go to all and just find his Insta. So he dude, this guy is like a fucking G, like a legit G. Yeah. He's a pharmacologist essentially. Like he understands every like steroid, that, like every supplement that can go on your body. Like he's been on Rogan and shit like that. Like he's a weapon. And he went on Rogan and was saying that like he had just crazy sleep apnea. Like he would wake himself up from snoring.
Yeah.
And that he got one of these machines and just like fully changed his life. Him. And so I know since I bought this thing at Christmas.
Yeah.
And then since I started, just 8 hours like tracking my sleep. And so do you now, like, you pretty much wake up even without an alarm at like 8 hours?
Yeah, you can get to that.
Just in that much of a rhythm.
Especially now, like, because if I don't need an alarm, I'm sort of up at that. Yeah. Up at that same sort of thing where you just like get that certain amount of time and you're like, oh.
Your body just knows.
Yeah, it slowly wakes up. And that's the best thing to wake up to. Like not having an alarm and just like, your body you're just up. Yeah. And you're like, all right, I had a good sleep.
I'll do that run. Check me around and do my run. Exactly. But yeah, so he was saying that they're the fucking shit. So I'm thinking, I'm like, you know what? Fuck, maybe that's just the next, like, because I nailed the 8 hours thing. So now it's like, how do I make the 8 hours even more,
even better? Yeah, exactly.
Apparently that's like the biggest, especially for men with like our hormones and shit like that, because and for like the stuff that you'd be doing, like the recovery would just be more important than the training.
Oh, absolutely. I found like I only started using like saunas and stuff like that like in the last sort of 2 years.
Oh yeah.
Where like I don't know anything about them. I just know they made me sleep so well. When we went to like Melbourne for our, like we had lockdown and had to go to Melbourne.
To do the bubble
thing. We stayed 2 weeks or just under 2 weeks in Melbourne and at the Pullman Hotel across from the MCG, and they have a killer sauna, like just piping hot in there, and then there's a pool that's outside and it's freezing. So you'd spend like 10-15 minutes in there before you go to bed and then go jump in the pool and then go have a cold shower, go to bed, best sleep. Unbelievable. So like now my house that I'm building, it's got a sauna, and then it's right next to the pool. So it's like that's just, and there's one in the gym that I go to outside the club, and we had one at the club as well, and that's just as good. And it's just like after a workout, even just jump in there, and it just something about it. There's people know more about it than me because a few boys got them at home as well, but they're fucking so good. And I still don't you don't sleep as good unless after a sauna. I fucking love them.
Yeah, I rate them too. So after if you do cardio, so after training and then you sit in a sauna, your heart rate won't drop while you're in a sauna. So you're essentially getting extra cardio. Yeah.
Fucking hell. Yeah. It's just cheat code, isn't it?
Yeah. Literally, like heaps of people nowadays, they'll do their cardio and then they'll do the sauna. And like if you watch it, it just doesn't drop. So whatever you kind of like left the
gym or whatever you're doing,
the session at, you'll sort of stay there. But the thing, there's an awesome book called Why We Sleep. That's actually what started the whole sleep thing for me. But I never knew that there's actually what prompts sleep is temperature. So your body needs to drop 2 degrees from like your normal kind of state to then like kind of click you into that sleep mode. So that's why a lot of people like sleeping with the aircon on. Like it's hard to sleep when it's real hot because your body temperature like won't drop and then it won't release the chemicals to kick you into sleep. So that makes sense why you like the sauna and then the shower, the cold shower to like drop your body temperature and then you go
exactly just out like a light. Yeah, it's unreal.
What other recovery stuff are you into?
Mainly, we have like the plunges and stuff like that, but they're not really a big thing anymore. Like
the cold plunges?
The cold, just ice bars.
Yeah, like, people aren't doing them as much?
Nah, not really. Like, they're not enforced anyway. They used to be like, mandatory. Boys, in you go. For like corkies and stuff, like which you get sort of mostly you just sort of strap it with ice and all that sort of stuff, but yeah, they're not like we used to like have to like you don't leave until you done your ice bath. Yeah. And it's like, all right, well, in you go, you do your 10 minutes and then out. And but yeah, now it's like, oh, the ice baths are there if you want to do them.
Yeah. You were never a fan?
I mean, you do feel good after them, but most of the times we got a cold and a hot, and then boys will just do sort of alternate. But then you feel just as good with sitting in a hot bath for 10, 15, 20 minutes in a hot spa, and then sort of feeling rinsed afterwards and go have a cold shower, and then you feel fresh as. Yeah. And I feel like they reckon like the cold or whatever like sort of increases blood flow and all that sort of stuff. What's the hot one doing?
It's the same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah.
You know?
I never bought it up. My mate.
Yeah. It's
I had a housemate. He lived with me for a year, and he fucking got the membership to we got like P3 Recovery. They're awesome.
That's
they're
down here.
the road.
Yeah, we've been there. Yeah.
Oh, they're fucking unreal.
Awesome.
But I just hated the cold. Like, I was like not a fan.
Yeah.
I used to do it, but it was fucking, I hated every second of it. So then I just went nerd mode and I started reading papers on ice bath. Because he was like, you got to do an ice bath with me, bro. You got to do it.
There's no data. Yeah. There's no data that says this helps you.
And I was like fucking sore every day from jiu-jitsu because you're literally just getting stretched and fucking
out.
pumped.
Yeah.
And every day I'm walking up like fucking feel 100. And he's like, bro, I'm telling you.
That's it.
So I just dived into the reading these papers fully inconclusive.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
There's nothing.
There's nothing. That's the thing. But it's like everyone, you got to do them. It's like, but it's like, remember the boys that same thing had a real problem with them. They're like, fuck this. And then they do the same thing. There's nothing on them. I'm not fucking doing it. And then like, I think they all just came around and go, not really. But if you can do them if you want.
Yeah, I think that nowadays though, like, so hopefully the next, I'm like trying to get a big warehouse and like trying to build like a new version of this.
Killer.
And so I want to have a gym and I want to have ice bath, sauna, because purely I feel like there's mental benefits
100%.
to doing the ice. That I'd say mentally, that's what I'd be chasing.
Yeah.
Because I'm a fucking pussy when it comes to it. And it's like,
mate, I'm with you.
And it's like you said, you do that hard thing first. If you can overcome that fucking voice in your head that is trying to steer you away from doing the thing that you should be doing, I want to figure out how to fuck with that person, you know. And I can do it in some ways in my life, and then other ways that thing owns me.
100%.
Like heavily owns
rubber
me.
arm.
No, literally just a puppet.
Yeah, exactly. Far out. No, I like that's awesome. Yeah, like this place is awesome already, and you got a nice big warehouse.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, that's cool.
I want to have like a maybe it leads into some of your YouTube stuff actually, but I love doing bike builds. Yeah, you can relate. I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I got a couple of cool ideas for like almost having like my own bike build show in a sense.
Hell yeah.
But where it's like it's real easy for me to shoot.
Yeah.
So, because right now, like we got 2 bike builds we've been doing, and we've been working on the cunts for that long. Like they take so long to do, they take so long to film. Then you got to go ride, and you got to schedule, and the weather's got to be good. And there's just all this extra shit that comes with it. So I want to build. I just want a cool place where like I can have the bike build stuff's there. There's cameras rigged up. There's lights always. We never have to take stuff down, set it up. Like it's all in this game that we're in at the level that we're in it. Yeah, it's about productivity and being frictionless in your environment.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah, and being consistent and having shit that's just ready to go all the time, and that's awesome. Like I'm with my shed that I've got now. I'm sort of turning with a friend into like a studio. Yeah. Basically, we just built a big cyclorama wall and all that sort of stuff. So I've got like because I had murals and shit all over my shed, and because I had just some other guy that was in there paying half the rent. And
so this wasn't at the farm. This
is down
like spot.
I've rented a spot off a mate. Yeah. So where I film sort of all my YouTube stuff, and I got a hoist in there, and
sick.
And she rings me one day and she's like, I'm looking for another space. She's already got one. It's a small little studio space, but she's looking for something big where she can build a cyclorama and all that sort of stuff. I was like, well, I got a space and I want to get old mate out of here so we can do. So I was going to try and build it a little bit bigger, and she's like, oh yeah, came in and like it's got amazing lighting and all that sort of stuff, and she's like, and then so we agreed to do this, and we've just sort of started it, and we've cleaned up the not polished, just sort of like cleaned the floors back so it's all raw and everything's white. It looks unbelievable.
Have you got any pictures of it anyway?
I do, yeah. It's they just finished like the cyclorama wall. It's looks nothing on Instagram at the moment because it's sort of all just sort of coming together, but that's it there.
Oh fuck yeah, that's sick, dude.
So it's like, I forget, it's like 240 square meters or something, the whole shed.
That's awesome.
So
what's that in feet? 2.2. Yeah.
You've spent, what's it in feet?
Yeah, like square feet.
Square feet. That's American, hey?
Yeah. So like 900, nearly 1,000 square feet.
Yeah. So
nice.
It's a big space and it's going to be good. But she's like, because she's all about the aesthetics and all that sort of stuff.
Which is probably good for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's like, it makes me want to like clean up my side of it and make everything shoot a little bit better and all that, and which it will, because like just clean white walls and all this sort of stuff has made it awesome. But then also because what I get on my show on Chuck's Garage, I let the guest do a burnout out the front of the shed, so there's all these black lines, and she goes, "What the fuck is this? You need to clean that off." And I'm like,
"Sorry, that's staying."
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's a big key part of my show. You know, like, you want this space, this has got to stay. So that's like, it's a compromise, but we can't do it right in front of the garage. We used to do it right in front of the roller door, and then just all send smoke and rubber all through. So
just got shit everywhere.
Yeah, I just got to move it, but. There's funny, one guy I had on there, he's got like a little rotary and he actually did a loop in like the little car park area. Yeah,
that's sick.
It was hilarious. But so that's like, I know what you mean, like when you want a sort of nice space where you can just sort of like have like to film and all that stuff, which we'll rent this place out. So that's sort of why I was like, well, before I build my shed, I want to be able to make a little bit of money out of this, because I'm selling t-shirts and stuff and not making that much money because it's like a hobby thing at the moment. But I want to be able to make it profitable, but in the meantime, to make it a space where people can come and shoot content and do all this other stuff.
And that'll just lead to like more people that you might want to work with.
Yeah,
You'll
exactly.
get different inspirations. And
yeah, that's it. And yeah, I totally understand that. And builds and all that sort of shit, man. Like that's so much fun.
It's crazy to me that it's such like an inner child thing. Like when you look back at it now, like, I mean, my bikes were fucking shit when I was a kid, you know, like I bought, do you remember Adam Hunter?
Yeah.
So I bought his old Intense M1 for like $1,500 when I was a kid.
Those M1s,
they were
man.
So sick.
That was me. That was like, that's it.
So I bought his. It was fucked. It was cracked everywhere. I broke the swing arm on it like 30 times. It was just the brakes never fucking worked. Like, it was the biggest piece of shit. And then I bought like like a 90, I can't even remember what model it was, like a 99 CR125. Thing was the biggest piece of shit. And so it took me like so long to actually have like a nice bike. So I think now I'm just making up for it.
Yeah.
Like I'm overcompensating for all the shit I couldn't have as a kid.
Well, that's it. And like that, like I said,
which is probably your whole YouTube channel.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So like, and just on the riding side of things, like I only started riding this year, and like I said to you sort of before we started, like I got a bunch of mates I met through sort of the car world and riding a few Harleys and stuff like that, and I saw they were all riding dirt bikes like out on the sort of Adelaide Hills area and all that sort of stuff, and I was like, fuck yeah, I want to do that. I want in. And they were like, you got a bike? And I'm like, nah. And then just started sending me all these bikes, and I was like, oh shit, I don't know what to get. And then they're like, oh, this is our mate's bike, he's out here riding with us now, killer bike, got it for sale, Husky like 501 FE or something like that. And I was like, my cousin's got one of them. I was like, yeah, I've ridden that. That's a cool bike. Sweet. And I was like, tell him I'll buy it. And then I bought it. And they're like, you need to get this, you need to get this. And then, and then I went on my first ride with them, and we did like 150K loop.
Oh, sick.
And it was awesome, but I was rinsed. Like I was I was cooked. I was like, oh yeah, I've been riding my
I'm pretty fit. I play footy.
I play footy. I've been riding my e-bike a heap out at all the bike parks and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, I got on my way back, like I couldn't open my fingers. I was like trying to ride it, got the claw. I was like, holy hell. I'm like, and I had my watch on as well. And like, it sort of said I burnt like 2,000 calories. And I was like, this is awesome. I said, I was like, I'll just write it off as I'm trying to get fit. And, getting my forearm strength up because, I need to mark footies and all that sort of stuff. So, and then, and I just sort of like, and they're like, oh, because there's a heap of whoops or something like out where we ride. And mainly that's sort of all it is. There's a bit of a trail on the side if you wanted to go out. All single trail, like through Walker Flat, and I can't even remember the trails, but I was just like, a couple of boys have ridden Fink and all that sort of stuff, so they're wild, like they know how to ride, and I'm like, yeah, you boys just go. I'm at the back. I'm having the fucking best time ever. Like just cruising along, and then they sort of watch me and like, oh, you need to set your suspension up. And so I'm riding a bike that's set up for an 80 kilo person. Like with all my gear on, I'm probably 120. And it's like, then they're like, oh, you should get these, and started sending me like all these shocks and like track shocks and cone valve forks. So they ended up buying them.
Amen.
Buying a bit of that shit, and then send them to. GRD in Alice, and he set them all up, and it was awesome. Sent it up in like a big case to Alice, and then he sent them back, and then put them in and chalk and shit. I couldn't believe the difference.
Crazy difference.
It's like, but like this is, I'm like Emma said, what is it?
The inner child.
Inner child, and just like got all the gear and no idea. That's me, man. Like I'm just, but like now all like that's how I've like found like the podcast is like, because all my content that I watch now is just like dirt bikes and cars and the average woman every now and then. That's just like, and I was like, what the hell? I was like, this is awesome. And then like, so that's all just, I just watch like dirt bike stuff now, and I fucking love it. And some of the guys I ride with, they're just the best dudes, and it's so far from what I normally do. It is just awesome, and they don't give a fuck that I play football. It's awesome, and like I love hanging out with them. I've met all the family, and now like we just go and do shit together. And it's just, and most of them live in the hills as well, so we're at the pub or going here, and I'm just so far from like the football world, and that's what I love about it. And like I love the lads that are just, they're fucking maniacs. They're just different. Twisted. But I have the best time with them, and and I'm like, that bike is the best thing I've bought in a very, very long time. Just because of the friends I've made and just hanging out.
Yeah, they say money can't buy happiness, but you ever seen anyone frown on a 501?
Exactly right. Fucking hell. And it was funny, like, because I like I love doing all the trails, like, and even though there's a road next to it, the boys will be waiting for me, and like I'm just on the trails, just like, because I want to get better, and I'm trying to do this, and they were waiting for me, and they're like, "What's the bet he'll be riding on the road?" And one of the boys was like, "There's no fucking chance he'll be on the road." And then next minute come out on the trail, I'm like, it's just like, I fucking love it.
Have you big boyed it out? Like you got like, because you could probably get like taller seat foam.
I haven't got the taller seat foam yet.
Massive difference.
That was the next thing I needed to get.
Yeah, and that'll be a huge difference.
Yeah.
What else? You could probably get lower foot pegs.
That's another thing that I probably need to do as well. But like, even like,
have you got the big shifter?
I got a longer shifter, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did get a bigger one of them, just so, like, getting used to those boots was like the...
Oh, yeah.
But shit, they're more comfortable than my football boots. Those things are unreal. I don't even know what ones they are. So I was like, because I said, you got any size 15?
Like, 15, that's a big foot.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we'll have to order them in. And I was like, oh, sweet, how long? And they're like, I'll be in 2 days. I was like, fuck yeah, that's sweet. Sick. I always have to wait months for boots and shit, so it's but yeah, and like the moto world's fucking cool. I just love it. And like, I went to my first Supercross in Adelaide, I think it was.
Oh yeah. Oh, did you go last weekend?
Yeah, last weekend, because I had to duck back to Adelaide for the launch of like the birthday of the studio. Yeah. And mate, I had so much fun.
That's sick.
Yeah, it was awesome. I was like, fucking hell, how the hell do they not fucking crash? Like all the like, because we went to a motocross track when we went for, I think it was my second ride. Yeah. And they're like, oh, we can just do like a couple laps sort of thing. And I was just sort of watching, and they're just like, nah, like cruising around, and I was like, fuck yeah, let's go for a little. I was like, how the fuck do they ride this thing fast? It's like ruts and shit, and I'm just like barely hanging on, and I was like, holy hell. I was like, no, that's enough.
Yeah, you guys have that.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, Supercross doesn't make sense.
No.
Like, it shouldn't be a thing that 20 people are allowed to do at the exact same time and actually try and like race each other.
Yeah, I thought it was wild when they obviously had the heats or whatever like that, and there was only maybe 10, and they were just sort of like ripping around, and they just look out of control nearly most of the time, but then smooth as well. Yeah. Like, it's like how, like, you notice like the good guys and that they just dominate, and then it's like that is and then they all get, then there's like 20 of them on this, and then Adelaide, apparently the boys I was with, they were like, this track's not that great, and that jumps, they don't get enough sort of room to be able to get into that, or because all the young blokes were casing on the triple real hard, so it was that was what the boys wanted to watch, but yeah, and I was like, this is fucking wild. And then like when they have that break, and then the Bobcats come out, and then just like, and I was like, fucking hell. I was like watching these Bobcats go. I was like, fuck yeah, those blokes.
Boys can steer, right?
Good operators, eh? So I was having a fucking ripping time. Like, I only had like a couple of beers, but it was fucking awesome. And
dude, you're about to just go into like the deepest hole, bro. Like, you've got years of shit you can do.
Exactly.
That will still have novelty. Like, you know, for all of us, like, we've been to almost everything. The great thing is it's still awesome. But like, you're getting to see shit for the first time, and you've not even touched the surface. Yeah, like, it's so sick.
Well, that's it. Even like touch on thing like what you said before, where it's like I didn't have like that, so now I'm like making up for it. Well, it's like I've always wanted a dirt bike, and I was like sitting there umming and ahhing about it, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I was like, imagine the 14.
I'm a superstar. I should have a dirt bike.
Yeah, imagine the 14-year-old kid looking at me. Yeah. Like, and he'd kick my ass if I had the money and I didn't buy that, you know, like, and I've got a lot of like few cars and stuff that are like fast and all this sort of stuff and shit I wouldn't even dream of that I'd have, and I'm so grateful that I've been in the position to be able to do and have the things that I've probably spent way too much money on the cars, but at the same time it's like I get so much joy out of doing that stuff and I love it. And I was like, oh, fuck it. Like, I want it. Like, I've got a Harley, and it's like, I don't need that fucking Harley. And it's like, I've got a dirt bike, and it's like, you'll fucking hurt yourself. And it's like, yeah, well, fuck, I could die tomorrow, you know? You know, I could be in a car accident.
People die from weird shit.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, well, I don't want to regret that not going out with these boys. And that's what I'm so grateful for, is like those lads to have them. And they're helping me with like the studio that I'm building now, because they're all tradies. And they just... Mate, bro, we'll help you. Like, just let us know. And they come out and help me, and it's like, that's just like good mates, you know. Like, and that's, you know, and I'm grateful because I bought this fucking dirt bike, and it's just brought me to all these mates that are just fucking good dudes. Dude,
it's so sick. I mean, like, that's our life, eh?
Yeah.
Like, it's been, I got the luck that I had in my life was that my dad raced a dirt bike.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's it. That's my whole life from there. Has flowed on from like what he chose to do. And so Dad and Glenn, like, Glenn was my dad's best man.
Yeah.
And, you know, so it's like, that's even like him and all the people I know through Glenn and like that extended network of people. And I think about it. I think about why it's like that in dirt bikes. And I think it's a little bit of it's the same in jiu-jitsu. Like, when I've been doing that like 6 years.
Yeah.
But when I started that, there were a couple boys that it's same deal. Like, for me, I started doing it and I was like, holy fuck, these guys are like, they're my boys now, you know? And I think that there's something about when you know how hard something is.
Yeah.
And you go through something that's like really, really hard. I think that's what makes mates. And when you know that there's like consequences, and when you know that they're like putting themselves on the line, like, there's a bit of that extra risk. And that's probably why you can get so close with footy mates.
Yeah.
Like, some of those boys are guys that, you know, like, you trust those boys with your life, because you're in like this extreme situation, even if it's not at the front of your mind. Like, when you're out riding in the bush, like, fuck, there's a lot of shit that can go wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
Not even your fault. Like, there's a dude that died. We just rode up Cape York. A dude fucking died because a kangaroo jumped out in front of him.
You're kidding.
And then he hit the tree. So it's just like, that's how quick, you know, it can change. And that's not to say that dirt bikes are a bad thing. It's like life. That's life.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
That's
but
it.
I think when you've got that extra risk involved and you've got guys that you trust and you're going out there, and even if it's not something you think about all the time, I think that's why you get those guys. And then I think that they're the people that end up sticking around and become like lifelong dirt bike riders. You've had to overcome so much shit. Like we've all had crashes. We've all probably been broke because of riding. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So like you've overcome these things, and if you stay, it's like if you stay doing this thing that's so hard and so difficult, it's going to weed out the people that are kind of shitty and can't kind of hack it.
Yeah, exactly. That sort of don't know how to go through that sort of diversity and just be and overcome that sort of stuff, and the blokes who can't handle when someone else is going through that sort of shit, and they're just sort of like, oh, that's not for me, and then they fuck off, and you work that out pretty quick. So it's like, and you just meet your boys, you know, like, and they're always going to be there, you know. So that's I fucking just love it. It's good.
That's sick.
So good.
So you got any bucket list stuff now? Like, have you figured out the landscape? Like, have you got plans of what you want to do, rides you want to go on? You're going to hit a race up anytime soon?
I definitely don't think I'll hit a race up. Like, mate,
think 2026.
Yeah, something like that. That was like my cousin. He's mad, and he's motocross, and he's got the Husky as well, and he's like, you bought fucking track shocks and cone valve forks. Like, you better be fucking doing Fink. Like, riding like whoops at 160. And I'm like, I don't know.
Give me a minute.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I'll never say never to anything like that. But I know the boys are keen to do the Cape. Yeah. Like the ride that you just did, I think. And they were like, oh, we'll just get one of the tour groups or something up here that do a sort of thing. So, because they've always wanted to do it, and they were like,
dude, I think my old boy's actually talking about running a tour next year.
Is he?
Yeah, he's kind of toying with the idea, and I've had so many people hit me up saying that like they wanted to do it after. I think I might just make it happen. Like book in with the old boy and
fucking
oath, because there's tours where you got to pay, and they do the bike.
They do the bike, and I think that's what the boys were talking about, doing the bike as well.
Yeah,
just so they can do whatever.
We were thinking about doing one, or Dad was thinking about doing one where it's like if you've got your own bike, the tour starts at Cairns, and like so you get yourself to Cairns and then up and back.
That's awesome.
Because a lot of the tour stuff too, you fly to Cairns, do the tour, and then you go to the tip, and then you fly from the tip.
Oh, okay.
So you don't do the ride back. I think you can choose to do it.
You can choose to do it, yeah.
Or you can do like you fly to the tip and then you ride back or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I think, fuck, it's a grind, bro. Like to do the full, I think it took us 11 days.
11 days?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just
up and back.
Yeah, and then 2 days to drive there and then 2 days to drive home for us.
Wow.
So I ended up, it felt like it just took up my whole month. But like, in a swag, your feet are wet for fucking, like we got rain, which it never sort of rains up there.
Yeah.
But that's a fucking trip to do. Like, it's a proper adventure. Like, it's not a holiday.
That's all, because that was the one that they wanted to do, and they went down to Robe and like rode sand dunes sort of like all last week and all that sort of stuff. So that looked awesome. But yeah, just like I said, I'm fresh, man. Like I'm just like any chance I get to get on the bike, apart from just Sunday gone where you went riding, and I sort of first night in camp always ends up being a big one. So
can't get night one back.
Can't get night one back. Yeah, exactly. So that didn't happen for me. But yeah, any chance I'd sort of get to go for a ride. Like I went for a ride with Glenn in Cairns, and he's like, I was already up at Atherton because my brother's got a house up there. Yeah. And
those trails are cool up there, eh?
Yeah, well, I'd never done anything like that, obviously. And then so we went there. He's like, oh yeah, we'll just sort of cruise up here. And Glenn's just an absolute frother, like just loves it, man. Like knows every trail's like, yeah, I mean that's his job.
Knows every person on every trail.
Well, like
too.
all these dudes come in, they're all like, Glenn, how are you? And then chatting, it's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, we're going to do this rock hopping over here, and it's like, oh, we're staying over here, and it's like, oh, okay.
And they'll be like, how's your mum?
Yeah, exactly. Knows everyone, knows everything. And he's just like, we pulled the bikes off and everyone got geared up, and he was talking. He's like, righto, should we go? And starts the bike, and we're going. He's like, we're going up here, and it's like, man. And he's like, up this fucking like hill, like rocky, rooty hill like this. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, oh.
The legs off everywhere.
Yeah, I had no idea what I'm doing. And then you get up to the top and he's like, just ride that clutch the whole time.
Yeah.
He said, just sit on it. He said, I was told that was the best advice I was told is you should be replacing your clutch rings more than your brake pads.
Yeah.
And he's like, for like that trail riding sort of thing. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then sort of once I sort of got used to it, because I was like, trying to drag this bike up and getting stuck and then
stalling it 20 times,
50 times, and I'm like, and I got up to the top of the hill and I was gassed. And I'm like, fuck, I'm in for a long day here.
Yeah. Hill 1, eh?
Yeah, exactly. And then sort of once we sort of got going, and then you sort of start to sort of get the hang of it and learn on it and all that sort of stuff, and it was awesome. And like it took me up to the top of this like lookout sort of thing, and you look out all over sort of Atherton and Herberton and all that sort of stuff. You see the big windmills and that, and there was a big fog just covering everything. And then like while I was standing up there, it just cleared.
That's
and I was
so
like,
sick.
It's like fucking hell. And he's just like the whole time, like,
just frothing. Yeah.
Fucking how good is this?
Yeah.
I said you wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Fucking God country. And I was like, you're fucking dead right, Glenn.
You are right.
And then. Yeah, it was just like, it was awesome. Like we did like 40, 50K or something like that. But it was like up these wild hills, and like, he's like, you've been sucking two-stroke all day. You want to ride up the front? It's like, man, I don't know where I'm going, and I'm having the best time ever. Like, you just go, mate. You're right. I'll just try hang on.
Dude, that's so sick. You will love Cape York, man.
Yeah.
Like and if you do it with your cousin and that, like, it's just being on the bike every single day too. Like you hear 11 days, it's a lot. Like I crashed day 2 actually, and so I had 4 days off. Like
big crash.
Oh, I'll show you actually. I haven't posted this one yet. We're making a little video from it. But yeah, I borrowed Miller's 300 because I actually don't even have an enduro bike. I need to fucking get one.
Miller?
Jack Miller, the MotoGP guy.
Oh yeah.
So I stole his bike.
And crashed it.
Oh, fucking twice. Huge.
Well, that's what Glenn had. He had a 300.
It's same thing. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Like, not that I know bikes, but like it was.
You would have thought 2 strokes. Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
There you go. This is called the Starkey Trail that we were on. So yeah, everything's going along great.
Yeah.
We had like rain. The dirt was amazing. And I just got a little bit too frisky.
Yeah.
Just started trusting my abilities.
Oh shit. Far out.
Yeah, so I ended up in like a riverbank, like a dry riverbed.
Oh.
So I cooked myself, and I must have hit my head a bit.
Yeah, so you'd be cooked.
So we had like 80 Ks then to get to the next camp, and you're in. Like it's either medevac or you get your bike back there.
Yeah.
And it was a cunt of a day too. Like my brother Matty, I got a flat tire. I had that crash.
Yeah.
Then I got a flat tire.
Oh no.
Caught up to those boys because Matty's bike shit itself. It did like a fuel pump. The ignition fucking went. The thing started catching fire. We were just like, this day is fucked. And then so he got towed. It took 8 hours to get towed. I saw
the video of you guys like just like foot on the back of the swing arm or something.
That was another day.
Dude, sounds awesome.
Wait, that fucking. Guess how fast we were going in that video?
Oh, I got like 60, 70K?
97.
97. That was motoring.
We had to do that for 30 Ks to the fuel station to get
So
fuel.
You just ran out of fuel?
Yeah. Okay. And then like the car to get it. We were like, fuck, we'll just push the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Matty's bike shit itself. So then him and Franco tied 2 tubes together and they towed 8 hours it took to get to the road, and then the car come back and got them.
8 hours.
Oh, torture. And then I was cruising. I kind of got up and I shook it off and I was right.
Yeah.
And then, you just get in that flow state. You're not thinking.
Just
everything goes out the window. And I was just in. Like, I was having the fucking best time. And then this old fella on one of the tour groups, because you're sort of around people the whole time.
Yeah.
He dropped his bike in, like, the deep sand.
Yeah.
So then he couldn't pick it up. So then I stopped, picked it up. And my brain was going apace from what I was doing before.
Yeah.
But I just wasn't in that same rhythm.
Yeah.
And then one of the boys come flying past me. I hadn't seen a bit of dust at all because I was like out in front.
Yeah.
Hadn't seen any dust, and then he just kicked up some dust, and I tried to stick with him. He's faster than me.
Yeah.
And then I just fucking hit this tree stump that like they cut them off for the 4-wheel drives, so like the 4-wheel drives just go, but they don't take them all the way off. And I just fucking creamed this thing, hit a tree like I cartwheeled. It was huge, dude. And I landed, I squashed a Red Bull tin. Like I had one in my camelback. Yeah, a full. It didn't pop. Fucking flattened this thing, dude. Like it was massive. So yeah, I did like my LCL a little bit, and like it could have. I got up and I was like, fuck. Like I was so pissed off at myself. Yeah. Because it's like, bro, that could have been like the properly fucked, you know, because you just stop thinking, you know, which is the beauty of it.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's a point where you've got to be on it a little bit. Yeah, semi. But
especially if you're like dazed a bit from the first one.
I reckon there was probably a bit of that going on as 100%.
Well. That's
still the best trip ever.
Oh yeah, sounds like it. That sounds awesome.
But then I had silver linings. So I had my D-Max up there, and we get given a D-Max every year by Tropical Auto Group in Rocky. Nice. And then CTO in Melbourne just put all Fox suspension and shit in it. Fuck yeah. So I was just like, righto, I'm a fucking rally driver.
Next.
Send this thing out.
That's so cool.
I was fucking pumped. So then Matty ended up riding his bike was then become a parts bike.
Yeah.
And then Matty rode the 300. Yeah. And then Sammy, I don't know if you've seen Sammy on the pod. He's like my best mate.
Yeah.
But he got to the tip and was like, righto, I'm fucking done. These roads are fucked. This is sketchy. I'm gonna die. So then I rode his bike home basically, so that I could keep filming and get some content. So yeah,
that worked out well then.
Oh, even with 2 huge crashes, best fucking trip in the world.
That's so fucking cool.
But the being in a swag every night, bro.
Oh yeah.
The only responsibility you have every day is putting fuel in your bike.
Yeah.
And rolling your swag out and packing your swag down. And like, how good is that?
Fucking oath. That's so fucking cool. I mean, I haven't done, like we used to do mountain bike trips like that with Dad and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Go out, fuck knows where they were, but we were quite young, but like we'd go out and just go mountain bike riding through all these similar sort of thing, like Herberton and all that out there, and you just camp. You're next to like a sort of freshwater creek and you go for a swim and you're in the middle of fucking nowhere. There's nothing but like dust and dirt and maybe a little bit of a creek, but it's awesome. And then there'd be same thing, follow cars and all that sort of stuff. And then young kids, you just sort of like, fuck this, and then jump back in the car and then you just sort of have fun eating lollies and riding bikes. But like,
listening to AC/DC and ABBA.
Exactly. But like, I haven't done a cam trip like that in ages. So
dude, that's
need to do it for sure.
There's actually, this is an event you should put on your list. Is there any Transmotos down in South Australia?
No, I don't think
closest would be Melbourne, eh? Yeah. Have a look. You need to get your boys. They'll know. These races, but you got to get the boys and you got to do Transmoto.
So what do you do there?
So it's a team race.
Yeah.
And basically, so like if you get 4 of yous on a team or 3 of yous on a team,
okay.
And they got they got 8 hours. Yeah, race your mates. So they got 8 hours, 10 hours. Oh, they used to do 12 hours. So where's the Wangaratta? Where's that? That's in
Wangaratta.
Is that in New South Wales as well?
Vic.
Is it Vic? Yeah, I thought it was Vic. Yeah, so like this is what you need to do. It's like it's a race, but I always say like this is my tagline for it. If you check the results when you leave this fucking race, you are a cockhead. so it's a race, and there's a transponder, and there's a result. But if you look at it, you're a fucking idiot.
Exactly. But so it's just more about like getting through, and that's what I'm fucking all about.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
This would be. I reckon you should put one of these on your bucket list.
Absolutely.
If you can do it. But yeah, basically. It's like a 20k, 25k loop kind of thing.
And you just keep going.
You go, and then if you can do 2 laps, you can do whatever, or you just come in, get your transponder, and then your mate goes out, and you got to camp the night before. Like, that's you, dude. Like that's like your first event, I reckon.
I reckon for sure. That definitely sounds like me. I'd love to do that. It's just camping, riding bikes,
drinking beers, having pizza.
Yeah, exactly. There's like simple things, man.
Yeah.
Like was like talking to the boys about going overseas and all that sort of stuff, because you always sort of have the end of year trips and all that.
Yeah.
And they had a pretty killer one, like sort of set up, and they're going to sort of like a couple of boys are going to Singapore Grand Prix.
Oh, sick.
And then sort of going to, and then coming back to the States, spend time in New York, and then Austin Grand Prix and LA and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, fuck, that sounds amazing. But then I was just like, oh, I've got to build a house, and you know, I've got a heap of car stuff I want to do. I want to go to Cootamunda and go race my Monaro.
Yeah.
Grand final day. And then I was like, I got the dirt bike and then my mountain bike as well. And I was like, nah, fuck it. I'll just simple drive, see my family from Adelaide to Cairns, put the bikes, the 2 dogs in the back, and cruised up. Loved it. Like the road from Adelaide to Cairns was awesome. I nearly got bogged on like some dirt road.
Did you go inland?
Yeah, when
so
inland.
You went all through like Broken Hill, Burke, and all that.
Yeah, Burke and all that. So I went. Where was it? I think it was like Ivanhoe to Burke.
Yeah.
GPS took me on a dirt road, and they just had like 80 mils of rain.
Dude, I fucking got bogged in the same spot driving back from Melbourne like 15 years ago.
Mate.
They fresh graded the road.
Yeah.
Out of control.
I was dumb by me, but I didn't want to go back through hay an extra like 2 hours and go round.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the sign said closed, and they're like, more information, ring the number. And I rang the number and it said it was open. And I was like,
that's good enough for me.
Yeah, that's all right. And then there was a farmer on the road, and he was just like, I got a like a Ram 1500, and we're sort of passing, and I said, oh, what's it like? And he goes, oh, the worst bit's on this side of the road. It's like 200k of dirt, and the worst bit, but then it's not too bad, but there's a big semi-trailer bogged up there. And I was like,
I'll go get him out.
And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, do you reckon I'll be right? And he looks at me and looks at the car, and he goes, you got 4-wheel drive? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh yeah, it's wet. And I was like, I'll just drive up the road a little bit, and if it's wet, I'll just fucking turn around. And anyway, I was like sort of fanging along, and then it sort of got a little bit slippery, and then sort of came through this bridge where it was sort of a bit of water. And I was sort of like already in full drive, and then I sort of got to a hard spot and I stopped, and I could see it was just like, I was like, fuck, doesn't look too bad. And I was like, right, into it, and just hit it. And I was like, oh fuck. And I'm getting all crossed up, and I'm like, well, I can't stop now. And then I was like, just booted it, and I'm like sort of up the road, full drive. And then I come around the corner, and there's this semi-trailer like bogged to the fucking axles, and I'm like, oh my fucking god. And I was like, I am not getting bogged. And I was like, what? Just flogged it. And I'm like, the semi-trailer's on this side, and I'm on the right hand side of the road, and I'll go around that side, and I've dropped into these ruts, and it's ripped me back around the other side of this semi-trailer, and I've got the dogs in the back, and they can see I'm stressed, so they're stressed, like panting and shit, and I'm like, shut up. And it's like, and I'm like, oh, I'm not getting bogged. And I was like, I remember I just stomped on it, and I'm around this truck like sideways, and the mud and water and shit's going everywhere, windshield wipers, dogs panting, and like this truck's, I'm like looking at this truck going, fuck. Like imagine how, like I'm talking to my dad, because he was like, don't go down that, you'll end up on a dirt road or something like that. And I'm like, no,
fuck, I'll be idiot.
I'll be right, whatever. And then he's like, the farmers will fucking kill you, because they've got to drive on that road. You're just fucking chewing it up. And I didn't even think about it, because like my uncle would do the same thing. He was on a farm. Yeah. Fucking idiots driving on dirt roads when you don't drive on dirt roads when it's wet. Yeah. And here I am fucking crossed up all the way down the road,
sending a 1500.
Speedo says I'm doing 160. I'm going like 60 k's an hour through all this mud, and I'm like, nah, I'm not getting bogged. And then I was like in full drive doing 120 like through this dirt road, and then it sort of just opened up, and I was like,
what did the truckie think? Was he in it?
No, he wasn't in it. He must have been in there for a couple of days.
Could you imagine if you got bogged next to the truckie and he was a Port Adelaide fan? The fucking peppering.
He would have come out and tried to flog me, and then realised I was a Port Adelaide fan and probably try to help me.
Yeah, you would have just got absolutely peppered for days.
But like, as I've got out of that section, Come around the corner, there's this Ford Ranger Raptor going even faster than I was in the opposite direction, and I was like, and he's like looked at me like, what the fuck are you doing? And then like I was like, all right, well he's going faster than I am, so
let's go.
Let's go. And like as like nerve-wracking as it was, I had so much fun. But there was like the wildlife on that road, man.
Oh, gnarly.
Thousands of goats.
Yeah,
wild goats, man.
yeah.
I don't know if they're wild. I'm pretty sure they're wild.
Dude,
but
it's
like,
a whole thing.
Like, and like, because my cousins, they're in country New South Wales, and they used to say we'd go on goat runs. And go and just herd them up. And then they'd go and take them and sell them. I even started reading, what's his name? Oh, shit. What's the name's book? Fucking...
Ned Kelly?
No. Your brother, we were speaking about him before, your brother manages him.
Oh, fucking Toby.
Toby Price.
Tony.
Toby. Tony. Yeah, I heard that. Yes. Yeah. I can't believe I forgot his name, but yeah, no, I was reading his book. He used to do the same thing, go out and get goats and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
but
it's a whole thing out there, yeah.
But like...
Goats, roos.
Goats, I saw more wild horses than I did kangaroos.
Wow.
And goats is what... Goats, emus, like... Fucking emus, mate. You'd be going like 120, 130. I didn't hit one. Shit, I was close. But like, they'd be on... I remember...
And they're like... Just like a Call of Duty, like zigzag formation.
What the hell are you doing, bro? Get the fuck off the road. But yeah, no, I love that trip. Like just that leg, and I stopped in Burke. I think it was Burke. Stayed the night in Burke. And,
how good is it?
And there was a pub that just opened on the corner, and like I walked in there. I was like, I need to get a feed before I check into the little hotel. And parents were ringing ahead and booked me a hotel. And so I've sort of stopped and gone into this Burke pub I didn't know had just opened. And it was fucking packed. People outside, people inside.
Big deal. They come from everywhere.
It was ridiculous. And I walk inside, and it was like, you know, those movies when like... where like the westerns and then the music cuts off and everything, like, and I like walk in
with your stirrups.
That's what it felt like. I felt like everyone was fucking looking at me, and I'm like, yep. It's not like I'm sort of very inconspicuous either.
You stand out.
I fucking walked in, I was like, yep, all right, where's the food? I said, you guys do takeaway? I gotta get the fuck out of here before I get bashed. But no, they were great. I ended up having a beer and sort of chatting to a couple people there, and then, where the fuck are you from? And all this sort of stuff. Geez, you're tall. How tall are you?
I'm sure you've answered that a couple times.
Oh, exactly. But, mate, I just had the best time. And then I got ripped by a lady when I went to the bakery because the ram was like head to toe.
Just mud.
Covered in mud. And I went to a bakery and got a cafe, and she goes, geez, your car's muddy. So you've been on dirt roads when it's raining. I was like, yeah, I got caught on then. And then
no.
As I was like walking out the door, she's like, stay on the bitumen. I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
Probably more scared of her.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that was a ripping trip, and then the trip from Cairns to here was just dog shit.
Yeah, it's
just
fucked.
Council like roads,
roadworks everywhere.
You can't get any consistency, and just outside towns, all my older dog Otis and shit in the car.
Wait, can I go? I'll go piss.
Yeah, you're right, man. Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, she's a schmick bit of gear, that thing. I saw her loaded up. I was like, fucking let's go.
Where's that? I don't think that was the straight arrow back.
That's so rad.
Where is it? I'll find that.
They're a good truck, eh?
Oh man, I love it. It's seriously like the best car I've bought, where I'm just like, because they don't have the center console. It's like the Express, so it's just cloth seats and that, and doesn't have a center console. So like I can just like put my leg on the transmission tunnel and just like
actually chill.
It's I love it, man. It's so good.
Yeah, no, they're a good thing.
Where is it? It was like, this is just after it.
She's fucking cooked.
Absolutely like packed, and it's still got dirt in it at the moment. Like I haven't properly cleaned it, but yeah, all my lights and shit were all like covered, and oh mate, I was.
That's an adventure. Then to top it off, the dog shits in it.
Oh mate,
how does that go down?
Especially like Otis is American Staffy. He's 10, right, nearly 11. So I've had him I do road trips with him all the time. So my mum gave him a bone the night before. This is what I'm putting it down to. Blame my mum. But it, so he, and like, because of, Cairns Townsville was like 4 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
I stopped just outside Tully.
Yeah.
And I let him have a run around, and the golden retriever, he did a shit, and he was sweet. And then Otis was just sort of ripping around. I was like, yeah, whatever. And Owen, he just jumps in the car and goes to sleep straight away. Otis will lay around a little bit, but then every time I slow down, want to stick his head out the window.
Yeah.
He's just always done that. But then he was just always panting this whole time. And I'm like, mate, just fucking cut it out, mate.
Just relax,
Just relax. I said, you've done this before. We've got 20 hours to go, bro. And then we get through Townsville. And I was like, oh, well, I'll stop out in the road here. There'll be like roadhouse or petrol station, whatever. We'll stop out there. And then I just hear like him fart and turn around and like he's taking a shit. And I have like the, the dog hammock sort of thing you put in there. But then I had their beds, and then I put towels down.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to put towels down. Thank fuck I put towels down. And I was like, what the fuck? Like ripped off the road. Like, and I was like, just don't fucking move. Don't move. And like Owen's just like laying there, like looking at me, like he's like, I'm not moving. And then Otis is I was like, get out. And then I had like towel and wrapped it up and then pulled the beds out. And I had like this bike wash. That was the only thing I had. And I was like spraying this bike wash, like rubbing. And I'm like, this is fucking gross. And I didn't realise, but he'd spewed as well.
Oh, so it's just made him sick.
He's sick.
Yeah.
And
fuck.
I was like, bro.
He would have felt terrible too.
It was like,
for sure.
Yeah, exactly. But so I threw one of the beds in the back of the tray, and then he had the bed, and then Owen didn't really like sleeping on the bed anyway, so he was just like sprawled out on the back seat. But yeah, fucking hell.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Not in the moment, but that's funny now.
Everyone I've sort of told are going, oh, poor Otis, poor Odie. I'm like, poor Otis.
He didn't have to clean it up.
He didn't have to clean it up or smell it. Thinking I was smelling it the whole time.
You would have just been like, is that shit?
Yeah.
Is that still shit?
The whole time.
Oh.
So I'd go to Servo and I'd buy a new fucking Christmas tree.
Thing.
I'd be like, it's not in here anymore. But yeah, and then like just the roadworks and like, because I wanted to get through to, where was it? Gympie on the first day. So I like want to put in a big stint so that I didn't have, on the Saturday, I didn't have to drive through all the traffic.
Yeah.
Gympie, no one would take me after like 8:30.
Nah.
And then so I'd stop in Rocky, so I still had like 8 hours the next day and just caught all the weekend traffic. Fuck. And then like all the roadworks from like, even from Gympie to Gold Coast.
Gympie to Goldie is crazy bad.
Fucked.
Yeah.
And then I had to stop into Logan to drop some money off to a guy who did some chrome work for my dad's XC. And then I was already like wound up. So I was just like, fuck this. I just want to get home, get back to where I'm going, And, but yeah, no, that was all right. But it's just, the roadworks just kill you. And there's there's no one on the road.
Yeah.
There's no one doing anything. It's just cones and goes from 100, 80, 60, 40.
Yeah. Stop, go.
What the fuck?
Yeah. No, it's been so shit for
But it's been like that. Like, I drove that road in 2009.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Well, what's good now is from here to like Sydney is done. So like there's actually, that gave me hope that someday they will actually get done. Dude, when I left Melbourne, so when I was living down there, that was my first job when I moved away. So I bought a Vito, I had a dirt bike, and then I was driving home and I was like, right, I'm going the inland way. Like I just wanted to get back to Cairns, tail between my legs, and I was like, I'm fucking out of here. And then I'm on that road where you were saying just before Burke. Yeah. And then there was freshly graded road and I'm fucking fanging along. And then like got probably 90 mils in 7 seconds of rain, like fucking raindrops like Coke bottles. And I was like, I need a fucking scuba tank here in a minute. And the road, I was doing like 120 and the same, just no four-wheel drive, just road tyres. And I just speedo. So I'm doing 180 on this thing and I'm going, oh fuck, like you can't stop now, basically. And then the road had like the fresh powder like on either side of it. And I'm just this Vito is just dung, 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 dung on the rev limiter. I'm just going fuck. Don't back off. Don't back off. And it was pitch black. And at night. Oh yeah. And I've just gone on the sand, dude, like Ruse jumping out. And I was like, oh, fuck, this is bad news, Bears. And then, I ended up just and then just all of a sudden it just went. And I've just done like 360 after 360 in a straight line, dude. It was like a movie. And then I just slammed the bank and I was there until the morning. I had to wait and I had to get out, fucking find some logs, dig myself like a trench, put some logs so I actually had something to get up on. Yeah. The whole time telling like, there's fucking going to be snakes and just, I was like, I'm fucking no service. Couldn't tell anyone that I was there.
Oh no, that's the thing I was looking at as well. Like, I've got no service. I'm going to have to pull the dirt bike out, leave the car running with the dogs in the back and just go find a farmer.
Yeah.
Like
out there. We're out there.
Out there. Like nothing. Far out. At night too.
Yeah, I was just like, it was one of those, like, I didn't even bother trying to find a solution in the moment. I was just like, righto. I just put my feet up and went to fucking sleep. I was like, I'm cooked, eh? Yeah. I don't think I'd stopped driving until then either.
Yeah, well, that's a big stint from Melbourne.
Yeah, so I was just like, I'm fucking done here. So pulled up and fucking waited. And I spent I was worried about getting bitten by a snake. That was like my ultimate concern, was because it was hot as fuck. Yeah. And I was
at night.
Yeah. No, in the morning. When I got up to like try and find some logs and shit. And I was like walking for fucking age. And I'm like, man, I was like looking back like, I need to keep the van in sight too, because like you can walk to a point and then just like everything looks the fucking same. It's like being in the ocean, you know.
Don't know, up is down, down is up.
So I was just like, oh fuck this. That was a big, and I was young too. Like, that was real testing, that one.
You got like, I was like when he was talking about logs and that, and I was just like thinking like, because I don't have any. I was like, I saw like when I was putting the shit on my car.
You saw the things.
I saw the things. I was like,
fucking.
Yeah, fucking need that. What the fuck do I need that? I'm like, this thing spends most of his life on concrete, you know, maybe on a beach every now and then, but. And then I was like, as I'm driving, I crossed up. Should have bought those.
I should have been one of those Muppets with orange fucking recovery gear on my truck.
Driving around, exactly. Driving around Burleigh or Adelaide, you know, like just in case I need to run over someone. Oh, wow.
That's fucking funny.
But road trips, man, I love them.
Yeah. I think that's part of growing up in Cairns. Yeah. Like, I've never been scared of a road trip because I wasn't on a plane. I went on one plane before I was 18.
Yeah, wow.
Because we just drove everywhere. Well, we had 3 kids, like 5 of us in the family. Yeah. There was no way we're buying fucking plane tickets for 5 people. So you just drove.
That's what, like exact same. So older brother, younger sister. And mum and dad are from like West Wyalong, country New South Wales. And like mum's sort of family stayed the farm, and then mum's parents and dad's parents were both down there as well. So as kids, we used to drive from Cairns to country New South Wales. It's like something
just on
like,
the reg.
Oh yeah, every Christmas. Yeah. We do it every Christmas, and like we just used to. And that was it. Like best thing was like we didn't because dad had a bus company. Like we'd do it in a different car nearly every time. So it'd all change, and then he had like those Suburbans. Yeah. So I used to have one of them. That was the best car because it had like a row of seat at the back, a row of seats there, and then so the kids can actually we could spread out. And then
how tall were you as a kid? Like, were you always real tall?
I was sort of reasonably tall. Sort of as I sort of grew up, and then I was a late bloomer, so I didn't grow till I was like year 10, and then I just went I can bang. But my brother was like 6'2" and like built like a brick shit house from like fucking year 9, you know, year 8 or something. Like one of those kids just massive.
Just had so much fun at school.
Yeah, exactly. Like winning everything and like bullying me,
bullying dad.
Yeah, that's it. It's just like, and I'd talk about that with my like when anyone asks why I'm like I am, it's because my brother. Yeah. So we both played sport together. We were only sort of 2 years apart, and we had a basketball hoop down the backyard, and like he wouldn't let me win at anything.
Nah,
nothing.
Nah. And it turned you into an arsehole.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like I'd beat him every now and then, and he'd fucking lose it, lose it. And then like I'd lose it every time I'd lost, which was every night we played basketball. So, and like everything, it was just...
That's probably... There's definitely a thing, like the younger brother is traditionally the better athlete. And I think it's because of exactly that. Like you just spend your whole life getting pumped. Yeah. And there's just a real resentment that builds up that you can't do shit about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like my brother, he won everything, like at school, like where he'd like long jump, fucking sprints, all that sort of stuff. He'd just be phenomenal at it, and like I just wasn't. Like I'd always do everything the same. Like I think the best I did was like a third in like cross country or something, and like I just wasn't as sort of good with him. But I had to work really, really hard to do anything. And then like I knew what it took to sort of do, like become better, is that I had to fucking work and work and work. And like I still am, like I basically, I'm not the most skilled or anything like that. It's just that I have like that willpower just to get it done. And like that's sort of what I've always sort of done, is like I haven't been the sort of flashiest or the, you know, the prettiest at doing it. I just fucking get it done sometimes, you know. So that's, and like I put that down to my brother, and in water skiing and mountain bikes and everything like that. It was just like I just looked at my brother as like he was just like the pinnacle, unbeatable. And he was like, and that just drove me to be the person I am today, is because of the standard he set for me as a young kid.
That's so sick. And what does he do now?
He's a builder. Yeah. So he's in Cairns. He did 4 years in Brisbane trying to play footy as well, but he went down a year later. So I think if he went down the same sort of when he was 17, I think he would have got an opportunity, and that would have grown him into probably a better footballer. I truly believe that, because he was, like I said, he was good at everything. You know, he should have been a cricketer. My parents, they're like, no,
that's sports shit.
Yeah, and you want us to go out there and watch you in Cairns playing in like 35 degrees with a million bloody humidity. It's like, no, you won't like it. Yeah, but he loved it, and he should have been like, I reckon he would have been all right. And
would have been like a fast bowler or something, probably.
Batter. Yeah, and probably fast ball is very quick as well, so he probably could have done that. And he's a big boy. So, but that's what my dad reckons anyway. So, and I said, well, that's your fault, Dad.
Put it on him.
Yeah, put it on him. But, he's a builder. So he's actually going to move down and build my house.
Oh, sick.
So they're going to live in the old house I'm in now. And I'm building a shed with the little living quarters in it. So I'll move into the little living quarters, and they'll be there. And so I've always sort of lived, apart from when I first moved away, I've always been secluded away from my family. Yeah. And so to have like my brother there and his 2 kids and his wife, and that would just be awesome. And then my sister, she works in Sydney. She works for News Corp. Yep. And she's like, well, if they move down, I'll move down too.
Oh, dude, how good would that be?
I was like, fuck yeah. I was like, let's do it. Let's fucking do it.
That's sick. Because that's kind of the worst part about doing the job that you do, is that you've got to be in a certain location, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And like I get to see, I get to see them probably twice a year, you know, like it's maybe 2-3 times a year where they'll come down once but not bring the kids, and then I'll fly up sort of once the season's over, and then Christmas. Yeah. So to have them around, like, and because, you know, you miss so much with like the little ones and all that sort of stuff. And I like try to do my best to see them whenever I can and get up to Cairns but Mum and Dad are retired now, so they come down like all the time and stay for like 2 weeks and just do everything. And it's like, just stop, just relax, you know, like you're retired.
Have a holiday.
Yeah, but like in the garden, doing all this, sort of doing whatever. And it's to be able to have a sort of family there would be awesome.
That's sick. How long you reckon it'll take to build a house?
Probably a year, 12 months. Yeah. It's just sort of getting everything. It's like getting it quoted properly, and then also making sure I can get all the materials and all that sort of stuff as well is the like with
That's a challenge at the moment, eh?
Oh, it is. And making sure you're not getting sort of bent over by prices. Like I need someone to go, like, I mean, it works 2 ways with me, like especially in Adelaide. It's like, oh yeah, well,
Yeah, they either want to hook you up or they want to charge like a wounded bull.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they all like it's either someone wants to help me or someone wants to fuck me.
Yeah,
like getting fucked all right sometimes, like well, the right reasons.
yeah.
But at the same time, like
not on heaps of wood.
Exactly. So so I've had like management go to like architects and all that sort of stuff that helped me sort of get what I wanted. And then I sort of and then that was the best thing I've done.
Yeah,
to get something done like
so that's not attached to like your name.
Yeah, and then through friends of like my management, they've sort of been awesome and like and exactly what I wanted. And then sort of went on and they said this will be great. This is what you need. And then go to interior designer. Then they put everything out on the table. I don't want anything fucking over the top or anything like that. But and then you just sort of go through that process and it's awesome. And it's like, then they put a 3D thing up and you sit there and you watch it and you're like, fuck yeah, I can live in that house. You know, like and that was the easy part. Now it's the hard part of trying to find. Like my brother, he wants to build it because he wants to sort of change from Cairns. He's just sold his place in Smithfield and he's built a place in Atherton that they'll Airbnb out. Yeah. And it's awesome. Like they're like Tinnerborough.
Yeah.
So there's a new estate there. So they've just built that new estate and they're 100 metres from the lake.
That's sick.
It's fucking awesome.
So they'll have a spot that they can go back to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they're living up in that at the moment, and brother's sort of just got another house that he can build up there, so he doesn't have to go down to Cairns, and he's fucking loving it.
That's sick.
But yeah, him and his wife are keen for a bit of a change, and they're like, you're not playing football for that much longer. We haven't gone to many games. We want to try and get to as many games as we can, and they'll be able to come to every home game.
Yeah, that'll be so much fun,
awesome.
especially for their kids too.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I've always wanted to have kids so they can see me play, but that's just not going to happen for me. Yeah. So to be able to give that experience to my brother's kids would be awesome, and it'd be like a dream come true for me if they could like. Because the kids, you get packages where kids can run out with the team. Yeah. So like that'll be the first thing I'll do with them is like when they come down, boom, come out, both of them, they can run out, run through the banner, and then they'll run off. And like that stuff's like, to be able to do that for like my family would be
because they'll
awesome.
Forget that. They won't forget that.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And like, so George is like 6 and Florence is 3 or 4. No, 3. Yeah. So for them to be able to like, you know, experience something like that and running around in front of like 50,000 people, that'd be pretty cool, you know. And and I'd love to be able to sort of do that for them, which would be something that I will always cherish, you know.
Yeah,
so,
and the photos.
The photos, exactly. Yeah, there's actually proof that, you know, Uncle Charlie used to actually play football.
Yeah. Once upon a time.
Yeah, not that he just sits around and talks about how good he was.
Yeah.
That's what ex-footballers do, you know.
Oh, that's why you do it.
Exactly. So you have all the stories about telling everyone how good you were. And they watch the footage and they're like, you weren't that good, mate.
I've got the tape. Are you going to build a big shed on it for like the YouTube stuff?
Yeah, I think so.
Or will you always keep that separate?
I sort of haven't really made that decision yet. Where I'll probably for money, so it depends on the studio and how that goes, and then how like my stuff works with that as well, which it'll work really well. So it just means if I do move everything to my shed, it'll have to be on the same sort of I suppose scale where like you want sort of clean black sort of white walls and all that sort of stuff to be, you know, aesthetically looking and
tick all those boxes.
Yeah, exactly, and that's sort of what you want. But so it's like it's a decent shed. So it's like 22 meters by 10, and like a 5 bay with a living quarters at the end, and like a 6 meter apron and all that sort of stuff. And I've got it like because the Chuck's Garage stuff that I do at the moment, where I just get basically Adelaide cars come through, and talk about the build and why they built the car, how long they had the car, and then I had a big Mickey Thompson tyre on the wall. Yeah, where they basically signed the wall, and then a little Polaroid picture we put on that. Yeah. And I'm just getting that made up basically from a sign writer who's going to he took photos of all because it was painted. And I had to paint over it.
Yep.
So getting it on
like recreate it.
Yeah, recreate it and put it on a big board so I can sort of move it. Yeah. And then after that I go, you can do a burnout if you want. Yeah. So, Yeah, and most of the time they do.
Oblige.
Yeah, which is good, but it's like it's like rough concrete. So if they have a soft tire, it's easy as. But if they have a hard tire, doesn't matter how much power you got, it'll just push the front tires.
Yeah.
So, but then some blokes just like I do like 4 at a time. You know, like just trying to line up, like get content. So I try to do like 4 at a time. And then some of them like, oh, we'll just hang around.
Yeah.
So then like the first guy will do a burnout, and then the next guy comes on and he's seen the burnout and he's like, oh, I'm going to do a better burnout than that. And then the next guy
turns into summer nats.
It's fucking hilarious. And the last guy had a mate, he had an F-150 Raptor, like he sort of modified it. And like it was the 4 litre or something like 4-cylinder one, like, and it had like 500 horsepower, big, huge Mickey Thompson. It's like a Baja bloody thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'll see if it doesn't burn out. And he just sat there and the thing just did this huge burnout. And then I hadn't had any problem with the neighbours or anything like that.
Until that one. And then they'd just sort of like opened this food processing joint next door. And they come over and was like, everything all right? And he's like, and I was like looking at him. I was like, Jay, the bloke who done it, he's like, yeah, no, all good. We just burned some toast. It's just like, I was like, get inside. But it's like, it's an industrial area. Yeah.
But it's sweet. And because most of the guys I've sort of filmed, they work all day and then they can get off at 4 and come bring their car. And
that's such a cool concept of like just normal people too.
That's all it is. It's like just some mates and blokes who I've known and met and all that sort of stuff. But it's so funny at the shed, like when we've been working on the walls and all that sort of stuff with a mate for this new thing, there'll be like, there's always cars driving past, like hotties and all that sort of stuff. And like, because they know I'm in Welland, but they don't know where I am. Yeah. Until they drive past the drive. So there'll be blokes like on a weekend, blokes will be like driving past, like, and then they'll like, you can see it. You can see how it all works through their head, and they like go and they catch a glimpse of like because I've got a big painted mural of Chuck's garage on the back wall, and they get a glimpse of that, and then they're like. They'll do a burnout out the front of the shed and we were standing there going like this, and it happened 3 times one day. We were just sitting there.
That's unreal.
It was so fucking funny. We were losing it. And but like that's just, you know, like I didn't ask them to do it or anything like that, but they just see the black lines on the like right out front of the carport, and then us and all the cars and stuff in the shed, and then they just decided to do a burnout.
That's so sick.
And that's cool. And like I've had a bunch of boys come around. We're working on the bikes. So when I got all the forks and all that sort of stuff, and it's like let's go build a bike day. And some boys brought their bikes down. A few other boys that had put different things on. So we sat around, got pizzas, drank beers. And
that's sick.
It's like cool to have a space where you can just sort of like hang out and fucking talk about cars. Like I remember talking like we're simple people, man, like men, you know, like we, you know, you think like, I know it infuriates sort of women that we can just sit around, drink beers and talk like absolute shit, you know, like, and like we could stand in front of like a car or a bike or something like that and just look at it and just be like having the best time ever, or like having like tunes playing, and
or
like,
watching old races from like the 60s, 70s, and just like, oh, I remember this.
Exactly, just random, or even bands like putting YouTube on it and like, oh, I remember this band, you know, I was like went to one of their concerts. It was Soundwave. It was fucking unreal.
Dude, R.I.P. Soundwave. That was the best thing ever, dude. I used to fly, when I lived in the States, I'd fly home every year for Soundwave, dude.
Wait, how, like we were talking, like this is what I was doing Saturday night. We're sitting around the table, there's 3 of us sitting around the table drinking beers and listening to like old like Taking Back Sunday and all this sort of stuff. And I was like, the last Soundwave I went to in Brisbane, there was like, first band I saw was like Paramore on this stage, and then it was AFI on this stage, and then it was City and Colour. No, not City and Colour. It was Lexus on Fire here. Yeah. And then it went to like Jimmy Eat World, Taking Back Sunday, and everyone was just going like this. And it's like, there's nothing like that.
That's living.
That is.
Dude, I think I was what was the last one I went to? System of a Down, Limp Bizkit, Marilyn Manson.
Wow.
Like, bro, it was fucking heavy. Like, it was the sickest. Well, I don't know why they stopped doing those, man. They were massive too.
Yeah, they just did one over in Europe where they had all the bands. Yesterday's something, wild, like unbelievable. You wouldn't like dream of seeing all this lineup together, and they just had this huge thing. It was like maybe 2 weeks ago or something like that.
No shit.
And I was like, when are they coming here?
Yeah.
Like,
Dude, that Soundwave was a crazy good run.
Oh, it was so good, man.
How good's AFI live?
Oh, he came out like on one, man. Like he was like bouncing around, and I was like, holy shit. He didn't like wasn't
did he
even
do,
drinking
like, the
or
walk
anything.
into the crowd?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, dude, I've seen, so AFI is like, they're like one of my favourite bands.
Yeah.
So like Linkin Park and AFI are like the two bands that I've seen the most.
Yeah.
And that was the best thing about living in the States was there's so much live shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
So like,
that's next level.
We used to drive up to LA all the time to go to like Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel gigs because they're just in a car park out the back,
really?
at the back of LA, and then they set up a stage out the back of the studio.
Fuck, that's
and
so
then
cool.
there's like probably 500 people. There's only a small amount of tickets.
Yeah.
And they do the show and it's like recorded for their thing. But yeah, like I've been to concerts where like, fuck Davey from AFI, literally we're holding him up. Like me and my mate are like fucking holding him. And he's just
life
like,
complete.
Oh, yeah,
Life complete.
So fucking, so sick, eh? But yeah,
That's awesome.
Soundwave, that was the one. But
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. Blokes can just sit down and talk about that shit for fucking ever.
And just be like so content with it. And it's just like,
Yeah.
fuck. And like you go, and then you like message it in a group message next day. Fucking ripping day yesterday, lads. Did absolutely nothing, right? Absolutely nothing. Like we were supposed to work on the bikes, did nothing. Just sat around and talked absolute garbage for like 5 hours. Fucking best day ever.
So that's Chuck's garage.
Yeah.
Basically.
Basically.
In a nutshell.
Burnouts and fucking talking shit.
That's so good. So who does like the production stuff for you?
So it's through my management. I said this year I was like, I want to be more consistent.
Oh,
and
sick.
Just want to be able to pump out more stuff. So the Chuck's Garage stuff was a lot more easier and consistent to be able to do it. So the channel's called Drive with Dixon, which was a whole nother idea where it's like basically a bit like comedians in cars sort of thing where I just wanted to talk to a few people and pick them up in a cool car and then just go for a drive and talk to people, similar like podcast sort of thing or whatever. And that was planned. That was why I was calling it Driving with Dixon, and all the COVID stuff happened. And I had a video already released, and they were like, no, you can't do it because you're sitting too close to him in the car. And it's not a good look for, footballers to set an example and all that sort of bullshit. So I only released that like 2 weeks ago, or last week. And I saw that actually. Yeah, and I got another one.
Were you in the Ferrari?
Yeah, Ferrari Lusso.
Yeah.
So which was cool, and we just went for a drive. And Trav, he's a Red Bull athlete, and he's just a surfer and all that sort of stuff. He's just a phenomenal human, and like we've done a few trips to like LA and all that sort of stuff together,
sick.
and like hired a G-Wagon and did like the typical fucking Aussie dudes cruising around LA and all that sort of shit. And we just had that chat. I had a chat with him, and then one of the coaches who I get along with really well, and had a chat with him and picked him up in that F250 or 150 or whatever. And so that was like another way that I was going to go. But then and then I've got all my other stuff so my channel's sort of all over the place, and I probably need.
But that's kind of cool though. At the start, like because you've got your other gig, like you can just test the waters and see what works for you.
Exactly, and that's it. And the Chuck's Garage stuff's probably the best at the moment because I've been sort of posting this throughout the last sort of 6 months. I've been posting pretty much every second week, having one show. Yeah, every sort of Tuesday night I'll post a Chuck's Garage, and it's only like 10 minutes, and it's just good insight to sort of what cars are in Adelaide and all that sort of stuff. I did one in Cairns where I just filmed so the production won't be well, my dad was filming while I was talking, so I gave him like a gimbal sort of thing, so that see how that turns out. But I got to send that over to my guys. But so my management just basically put me onto a couple of film guys, one of the film guys, and he does all the editing and all that sort of stuff, and then sends it to one of the other guys who's in Melbourne, and they sort of set up and run the Driving with Dixon and post everything like that. And then I'll do sort of the miscellaneous stuff, which is just my cars. So I've got like a C8 Monaro, E30 BMW with the Monaro's is basically a drag car. It's got a stroked 383 LS1 with a big GDX 45, I think it is now. So it makes like 800 or 900 horsepower through a power glide.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's good fun. And then I got an 88 BMW, which is going to be a circuit car, and a bit of drift stuff with the 600 horsepower LS, sort of LS2 in it. And that's just sort of been thrown together with a few parts I've sort of had thrown around, like laying around. I bought it as a roller, and I just started. I've slowly sort of put it all together, and it's going to be so fucking loud.
Really,
but it's awesome. It's like white. It's just like a blank canvas sort of thing. It's going to be mental. And then my main build at the moment is my grandfather's old farm ute.
Oh wow!
That he used to kick around in.
What is it?
It's a 1977 HX Holden.
Oh, sick.
And it's been like 6 years in the build, and I've just sort of got it back this year, and the body and everything. And brand new chassis. Like the car's like brand new.
Yeah.
I've spent way too much money on it. And I'm putting a billet RB30, like VL turbo motor.
Yeah.
So one of them, but it's like billet block. Stupid, but it should like
no, don't be silly.
but it should have like 1200 horsepower sort of thing, and be but it'll look like a normal farm ute and sort of sound a little bit wild on go, but like it'll be cool. It's so they're my main cars, and that's the sort of stuff I just film, like me working on them and basically me pulling shit apart until I can't.
And then see other guys fix it.
Other guys
that's
fixing
pretty
it.
much me too.
Yeah, well, like I get to a point where I'm like, yeah, fuck, I don't know if I can do that. The boys and like, because they used to have their cars in my shed as well, so they'd come in. Tuesday nights would just be we'd go and work on cars and muck around and all that sort of stuff, and they'd do the stuff I couldn't do, and then they'd tell me just give me a few jobs here and there, and that was it. It was awesome. We do pizzas and just fucking hang out.
That's so sick.
Yeah, and so that's basically it. And I'd sort of filmed like my travel sort of up to Cairns and all that sort of stuff. Did a bit of vlog or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Did that stuff, and so which is cool. And I just love it. It's good, and like try to get to as many race things. There's like roll racing in Adelaide is probably the only sort of consistent racing we can do.
Yeah.
In
have you been out to the Bend much?
Yeah, heaps. Like that's where they do roll.
So good, dude.
They do roll racing out there. Yeah.
And so what's roll racing?
So basically, you line up around the sort of corner, just before the main straight, and then they have a sort of so you line up side by side, and then flashing lights, they tell you to go, and then they're flashing orange, and you got to follow the left hand lane, and then once the light goes green, you just race down. It's like 400 meters or something like that. You race down the main straight. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It's huge. Like in Sydney, mate, it's big time bragging rights, man. Like,
really?
Oh, it's huge. Like, because there's all the like Matooks racing and the big GDR guys. Like there's Croydon racing and all that sort of stuff. So there's huge like rivalry, and like there's like a 2500 horsepower like Lambo crashed in the wall the other week. Like
just getting it.
Yeah, trying to, man. Twin turbo Lambo, man. Like, but these guys are like, yeah, $500,000 cars, like racing and getting bragging rights and putting money on it. And then in Adelaide, it's like it's still big now. It's like my mate, he's got like petrol stations. He's won it like 4 or 5 times. He's got a McLaren 675 or whatever.
Yeah.
And when I was out there once, and like because he's like, I want to fucking race you. I was like, mate, this thing's got 1,000 horsepower. This is like 1,200 horsepower, and it's like meant to be like that. It's meant to go around the track, not in a straight line. And it's like, all right, we'll race. And I was like, I've got to get on it a little bit early. Yeah. and then like he didn't have traction. He turned traction control off to warm his tyres up. And so then the light went green, and I've gone, and he spun, and then like I've got out too far, and he didn't wheel me in, and I was like, fuck me. And he's like, one more time,
bro, we're done.
Yeah. And I did it again, and then he beat me by a car length back there. And then like we're out there, and he's like, one of your mates wants to go for a ride, here, you take him. I'm like, what? And I'm just like, all right.
He's that like, would have been so sick.
He's like, just leave traction control on. I was like, yeah, sweet. Mate, and this thing was unbelievable. It was just in track mode, and like this 800 horsepower like Mustang like got out in front of me, and I didn't know what gear I was supposed to be in. Like hit the limiter on it, and then like he got out in front of me by like fucking bus lengths. And then I was like, bah, 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 bah. And I went past him like he was standing still. I was like, this is unbelievable.
That's insane. And he just thrashes around the track.
Yeah.
So you do laps, or is it just like to the first?
It's just the straight. And
so it's sort of like modified drag racing.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, right.
And then
that's sick.
You do that, and then so you have like a couple of hours of just practice.
Yeah.
And then you have a elimination. So basically you lose, you're out, and you win, you keep going, and then you just keep going. And then they have like, if someone jumps or something like that, they'll tell them like, oh, you go again, or you're out, or something like that, and photo finishes and all that sort of shit. But there's always like, there's always that sort of, no, fucking jump, this bullshit, I mean, like I've only gone to like the second or third round because my car used to be manual and I used to do it heaps, and then I've gone auto, and yeah, I just never really I haven't been out there since it's been auto, but I don't think my car would be able to win it anyway.
Yeah.
But because there's some big big horsepower cars out there. But it is just, mate, just being able to get on the car, like get on the track and actually put your foot all the way to the floor and not have to like look around like there's cops out there. Like, and when your car grips up, there's nothing better. And it like grips up and you're like, wow.
Just sits you back.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the main sort of car racing in Adelaide at the moment, apart from all the circuit stuff. But like all the hoon, the drag racing scene, like where they're building a drag strip out there. Yeah. So that's going to be amazing. It'll be like $30 million racetrack. But we haven't had a proper drag strip in like 4 or 5 years now. Yeah. So last time, or probably 3-4 years. Yeah. So, and like I've been trying to talk to the government and Bob Jane, Rodney Jane, who owns Calder Park and also Adelaide International. So I've been speaking to him sort of on and off the last 2 years about what I can do to sort of
awesome.
To help, and he's trying to fix the wall because he got bent over. Someone sort of dodgy did the wall, and then it's not the right length or not the right width. Sorry, and it's like, so he's slowly sort of fixing it, but yeah, we're just trying to get racing back in Adelaide because it's, mate, per capita we've got the most steel bumper cars in Australia, in Adelaide, man. So like and there's so much money in Adelaide. Like you wouldn't pick it, but like there are some of the cars that come out of the woodworks like are just like
next level shit.
Next level, man. Like, and just normal dudes, like they've just had them in the sheds, like very, very wealthy people, and they're just the collections that they have because they're just flying on the radar, and they're just like, where the fuck did you pull that from? He's like, I got a whole heap, you should come and check it out. It's like, yes, please. And they're just cool dudes. Like I did the Adelaide Rally with Sagami. They gave me like a McLaren GT to go do this like 3-day Adelaide Rally, and they wanted me to do it again this year. I think it's on maybe this weekend, but I got a wedding, so I couldn't. And I was like a lead car, so I had to sort of take everyone to the thing. But like, man, it was unbelievable. And some of the dudes, like they're like driving a Ferrari Pista, which is like fairly rare and quite expensive, and he's just wearing double denim, like just like this absolute chiller. And he's like, oh yeah, I got this. And it's like, you've got what? Like some of like the race car, like GT Ferraris and all that sort of stuff just in his house in like Adelaide somewhere.
Fuck, that's cool, man.
Fucking hell. Don't even understand. He was just the most unassuming dude, so nice. And he's just rolling his double denim, driving his Pista through this rally, and it's like, fucking hell, that's
what a
cool.
man.
What a man. Yeah,
what
exactly.
Man.
I want to be you, bro.
So do you think that's like your post-footy thing? Like, so in an ideal world, you make enough money in footy to not have to work again, and then this can just be the project that you just do for fun, and like, sure, it'll probably make a little bit, but fuck it, you just do it because you love doing it.
Well, that's it, to try and set myself up enough where I can sort of do something that I love doing, but then also to be able to make money out of it would be, ideal. I think
you definitely will.
Yeah, exactly. You just got to get it to the right point and get it to the right people. But it's like, I think there's like such a market. Like I'm always watching the US TV shows, man. Yeah. Like there's nothing in Australia. Yeah. I'd love to be able to like put a TV show together where I basically travel around with my cars in a big fucking motorhome thing, and where I've got all my cars, and then I go to all the different events that are held, like where it's circuit drift or whatever, and just try my hand at everything. Yeah. Drag racing, like Summer Nats or Rocky Nats or whatever, and just go to the events and just do the TV show on all the people, and then go to the garages that are like the high performance and what they do, and just show what Australia has to offer.
We sort of like half lost that a little bit, eh?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, especially with like the V8 supercars, like not even calling it V8s anymore.
I know.
It's in our fucking DNA, like heavily in our DNA.
Absolutely.
And it sort of seems like we've kind of gone away from it a bit.
Yeah, so I think there's definitely a market for that. Like I know, well, like if it's on Netflix or if it's on just normal 7 Mate or whatever like that.
But even YouTube, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
well, that's it.
That's kind of the cool thing that you're doing. Yeah,
100% would love to do. Like just get in the car, like I said, like road shits, man. Like, and I'll drive anywhere if I can race my car.
Yeah.
Like, and to be able to have like 2 or 3 cars where I can just race and then go and speak to people and then see them race or test out cars or do whatever, man, and just have anything to do with cars. I think that's a killer story.
That's so sick. And then you've got the bikes that you can add in there as well.
Exactly. Bikes are small, man. You fit them in between cars or whatever on the back of the wagon and just go riding. Like, exactly. That's a dream, to be able to just cruise around, do some filming, speak to some killer people, drive some killer cars, and then also race mine.
Yeah,
ride
dude.
Bikes too. That's the new thing for me at the moment, is try and get on that bike as much as I can because I fucking love it.
So how long have you got playing footy, you reckon, until you start to fully go into this? Have you thought about it?
Yeah, so I'm contracted till next year.
Yep.
So I got 1 more year, and then they said they want to keep me on. They said they don't want me to put an age, like a limit on my career, because I'm sort of wanted, which is good, even though I'm sort of getting on, a bit old in the tooth or whatever they call it. But I reckon I've got sort of after next year maybe 2 more years.
Yeah,
I'd like to be able to put that out there, that I can play for another 2 years and be competitive and still be an asset to my team. So and I think I showed that this year, which playing a bit of a different role through the ruck, I can still do that, and like it's just basically filling a role for my team and being able to help still is the main thing. I don't want to be out there just because I'm out there, like I want to be able to help and like you said, and being a part of the culture is a big thing as well, and I think I can help a lot way in that as well.
Yeah. Well, dude, I've loved it. It's been an awesome podcast. I'm so glad we got to do it.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, it's sick. We made it happen. Like, quick too. We'll have to get out on the bike and have a ride at some point. But
absolutely.
If you ever need anything help-wise with the channel, any production stuff, if you need any advice or whatever, then happy to lend a hand if you ever need it.
Absolutely.
Not that you need it. You've got shit going on, but
definitely need it. Never say no to some help, that's for sure.
So, but appreciate it, mate. That's
awesome,
awesome.
Mate. Thank you very much.
Cheers, brother. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.